Chapter 247. I have something more important to tell you. Speaking up to here, First Elder's eyes flashed, but it didn't last long before dimming down. His expression kept changing. After a short moment, First Elder fell into some sort of memory as his face was filled with loneliness, self-mockery, and regret. This was the first time Zhao Feng had seen such a complex expression on his master's face ever since he became a disciple of First Elder. I'm ashamed to say this, but the next mission involves some personal grudges of mine. First Elder calmed himself down and solemnly took out a half-jade comb and handed it to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took the comb and touched it. He found that it was a rare treasure that had a special effect. It was comparable to a middle-grade mortal weapon. To the most authoritative elders in the sect, a mortal-ranked mid-grade divine weapon was not considered a very valuable item. But when First Elder handed it over, he was very careful and his fingers were trembling. This wasn't the end. Immediately after, First Elder took out a pen and paper and quickly wrote a letter before handing it to Zhao Feng. Take this letter and half a jade comb to the Canopy Great Country's Lu family. If the situation of the 13 countries can't be saved, the person who receives the letter will make arrangements for you based on our relationship. First Elder said solemnly. Zhao Feng scanned the letter and saw 5 words written on it, to Lu Qinqin. A letter and half a jade comb were sent to the Canopy Great Country. What relationship did the person who received the letter have with Master? Although Zhao Feng was curious, he didn't ask. Even if it was to repay a debt of gratitude, he wouldn't hesitate to complete this mission. Moreover, First Elder's mission arrangements clearly had extra care for Zhao Feng, as if it had been specially prepared for him. From a rational point of view, with Zhao Feng's talent and potential, staying in the 13 countries would only limit his growth and potential. If he could enter a bigger sacred land, he might have a better future. You have to leave the 13 nations within 2 months, this land of trouble. Also, to ensure the confidentiality of the mission, from today onwards, you must disappear from everyone's sight. The First Elder looked solemn. Master, do you mean that I can no longer come into contact with the sect or anyone else? It better be so. The Great Elder sighed softly and added, as for your family and related people, I will make arrangements for them. You have nothing to worry about, so you can leave with peace of mind. Hearing this, Zhao Feng was finally moved. Why did the First Elder's words sound like he was leaving behind his last words? Could the Broken Moon clan and the 13 clans be saved? I don't know if he can be saved in the future. But now, there's no way to save him. The Great Elder shook his head bitterly and looked deeply at his disciple. Zhao Feng understood his master's intentions. He had placed the future on him, which was why he had made such arrangements. However, Zhao Feng still didn't believe that the 13 clan alliance couldn't be saved. He thought to himself, is Master too pessimistic about the situation? The First Elder seemed to understand his doubts, but he didn't explain it directly. The 13 clans might join hands to fight against the Iron Dragon country for a period of time. However, it doesn't matter if you're there or not, it won't change the overall situation. Do you understand what I mean? Disciple understands. Currently, this mission is beneficial to me. Zhao Feng's mind spun and he agreed. The Great Elder was right. Even if Zhao Feng stayed in the Sky Cloud Forest, it wouldn't matter. In a battle of this level, even those at the true human rank couldn't do anything. Those at the Ascended Realm were the lowest soldiers or even cannon fodder. They didn't pose any threat to the overall situation. Since I can't do anything here, I might as well focus on the mission. Shwa! With a flash of azure, Zhao Feng left the cave and disappeared into the clouds. Not long after Zhao Feng left, Granny Luiyue appeared next to the Great Elder. With your pride, you lowered your head to ask for help from that person. Granny Luiyue was in disbelief. The Great Elder was silent as he stared at the direction Zhao Feng had left in and fell into deep thought. Whatever, you've left a sliver of hope for the 13 clans. For Zhao Feng, it's all good. Firstly, he'll be able to escape the chaotic whirlpool of the 13 countries. Secondly, Zhao Feng will be able to enter the true stage of the northern continent. That place might be able to help him. Granny Luyue sighed. Thinking about it, if she had such a talented disciple, she might have made some arrangements for him. However, the great elder's arrangements were more comprehensive and he even had connections with the sacred lands. Half a day later, Zhao Feng entered the sky cloud forest by himself. On the way, his god's spiritual eye saw the group from the Broken Moon clan several hundred miles away. Yang Gan, Lin Fan, Ran Xiaoyuan and company were on the way back. However, Zhao Feng didn't greet them. Broken Moon clan. Cloud country, is going to leave like this and disappear from everyone's sight. Zhao Feng felt a faint sense of loneliness and unwillingness. He had grown up in the cloud country and apart from attending the alliance banquet of the 13 clans, he had never left. But logic told Zhao Feng that staying in the 13 countries would only bring him harm. The 13 clans will fall into a whirlpool of danger and with my current strength, I can't change the situation. Furthermore, I have the ghost mark on me and I'm more dangerous than anyone else. Zhao Feng took a deep breath. Ever since the Floating Crest trial, Zhao Feng had been unstoppable and he had even come first in the alliance banquet not long ago. These achievements made his confidence swell. However, at this moment, he felt powerless. Facing the situation of an entire region, the effect he had was negligible and he might even lose his life. One day, when I have true power, I'll be able to control the fate of this region with one hand. Zhao Feng suddenly had this desire, an unprecedented desire for power. Meow meow. The little thieving cat lazily popped its head out and sat on Zhao Feng's shoulder. Compared to when it was born, the little thieving cat was only a tiny bit bigger. It was only the size of an adult's palm. This speed of growth was unbelievably slow. Meow meow. As if feeling the loneliness in Zhao Feng's heart, the little thieving cat rubbed against his face and jumped around happily. Zhao Feng wanted to compete with the little thieving cat in terms of speed. However, without using his bloodline power and Yin's shadow cloak, Zhao Feng was only on par with the little thieving cat. On the other hand, the little thieving cat's agility was unparalleled and even Zhao Feng couldn't compare to it. Not only that, the little thieving cat could also become invisible and its abilities were greatly increased at night. Of course. The little thieving cat could also occasionally play the role of a diviner and toss out the old bronze coin, as if it could predict the future. The man and the cat entered the sky cloud forest as if there was no one there. Zhao Feng didn't plan on leaving the 13 countries immediately. The time limit given by the first elder was 2 months, with a certain amount of grace. Furthermore, Zhao Feng did have things he needed to take care of. Firstly, his cultivation had broken through 2 sky during the alliance banquet and he needed to consolidate his foundation. Secondly, the ghost mark was a hidden danger that needed to be removed. The second problem made Zhao Feng's head hurt. The mysterious skeleton that left the ghost mark on him had a huge background. It was actually a division leader of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. With the scale of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion back then, a mere division could sweep through the 13 clans and even destroy a strong country. It was impossible to estimate the strength of Hall Masters who were even higher than that. On this day, Zhao Feng entered a misty forest. This was the outer area of the 100 Graves Forbidden Ground. If he took another step forward, he would be in the land of buried bones where the power of the curse would invade. There was a mysterious power in the misty forest that could confuse one's senses. Even those at the true spirit realm would have their senses restricted here. It should be safe to cultivate here. Zhao Feng found a corner and sat down cross-legged. For the next half a month, Zhao Feng focused on consolidating his foundation. Breaking through 2 sky in such a short amount of time at the alliance banquet was indeed a bit too hasty with the help of the shedding spiritual pill. Everything had its pros and cons. While consolidating his foundation, Zhao Feng found that the potential in his body had been squeezed out and the difficulty of breaking through would increase by several times. This was the disadvantage of using external help to break through too quickly. Luckily, he didn't plan on breaking through in a short amount of time. In the clan, many elders at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm had been stuck at this level for dozens of years or even their entire lives. There was an unimaginable gap between the true spirit realm and the Ascended Realm. To break through this gap, luck, potential, talent, and luck were all important. After half a day of consolidating, Zhao Feng's foundation had stabilized. However, his body's potential and room for improvement was extremely limited. After stabilizing his foundation, there was only one problem left, the ghost mark. Zhao Feng fully opened his god's spiritual eye and could barely sense the existence of the ghost mark. However, with his cultivation and mastery of mental energy, the difficulty of dissolving this mark was comparable to breaking through to the true spirit realm. However, Zhao Feng didn't give up and continued to study mental energy techniques while organizing what he had gained from the Alliance banquet. Before he knew it, his mastery of mental secret arts had already far surpassed that of the mind control art and other secret arts that he had obtained in the beginning. While Zhao Feng was in seclusion, the situation in the 13 countries had undergone a drastic change. Ever since the ambush at the Dragon Concealing Lake, a portion of the experts of the 13 clans had returned to the clan. More accurately speaking, the 12 clans. After half a month of planning, the 12 clans formed a powerful alliance and charged towards the Dragon Concealing Lake. At this point in time, the Dragon Concealing Lake had become the Iron Dragon Country's stronghold. However, the weird thing was that the Iron Dragon Country didn't send too many experts over. The alliance of the 12 clans was stronger than the Iron Dragon Country. A great battle was about to break out. The 12 clans were full of confidence and had the hope of defeating the Iron Dragon Country. However, right at this moment, something unexpected happened. An unparalleled expert appeared on the Iron Dragon Country's side. True Lord rank. The descent of a true Lord rank. At that time, the 12 clans had almost doubled the Iron Dragon Countries. However, when the true Lord rank of the strong country descended, all their advantages were gone. True Lord ranks could create clouds with a flip of their hand and rain with a flip of their hand. No one knew how strong a true Lord rank was. All they knew was that the upper echelon of the 12 clans at the true spirit realm didn't resist at all. Chapter 248. Dragon Concealing Lake, Island at the heart of the lake. The elders of the 12 clans all surrendered with helplessness and bitterness on their faces. In the sky above the island floated a black-clothed young man holding an iron fan. His eyes were as cold as an eagle's, and the strangest thing about him was that his skin seemed to be covered in a layer of metal. Even his clothes and hair seemed to be assimilated by metal. A cold metallic aura seeped through the air like mercury and froze the air. There wasn't even the slightest bit of wind. True Lord Taishao. The 12 clans have already surrendered and are willing to submit to the Iron Dragon clan. Are you going to kill us all? The Grand Elder of the Cloud Sword clan suppressed his anger and wiped the blood from his mouth. Being a true mystic rank cultivator of the sword, his lightning-fast sword had created sparks on True Lord Tiexiao's body, but the latter was unharmed. Furthermore, he had been injured by a terrifying force. The other elders of the 12 clans didn't dare to say anything and didn't have any thoughts of resisting. The true Lord rank was too far away for them. First elder of the Broken Moon clan sighed in his heart. In the past, the Iron Dragon Strong Country and the Sky Rich Strong Country both had a true Lord rank. This was the key to maintaining balance. But now, the Iron Dragon Strong Country has another true Lord rank and has turned the situation around. The birth of a true Lord rank affected the situation of a large area. They stood in the clouds and looked down on the world. Every action and thought of theirs could affect the fate of millions. True Lord Xiao Yao floated in the air emotionlessly and didn't say a word. On the Iron Dragon Strong Country's side, the mysterious person covered in black took out a blank scroll that was several feet long. Blood-pact scroll. All the true spirit realms of the 13 countries need to sign a blood pact. The mysterious person in black said emotionlessly. Killing the 12 clans wouldn't bring any benefits to the Iron Dragon strong country. Furthermore, it would not be easy to wipe out the 12 deeply rooted sects in one fell swoop and eliminate the weeds at the roots. The smartest way to do this was to make these sects subordinate to Zhangxian, thus maximizing their benefits. The elders of the 12 clans looked at each other with helplessness in their eyes. The blood pact was like a letter of surrender. More importantly, it had a strong binding force. Once one used their own blood to sign it, it would form a binding force and it wouldn't just be a piece of paper. After half a cup of tea's time, the elders of the 12 sects signed the blood pact scroll one by one and signed it with their blood. As for the ancient shrine, it belonged to a branch of the Scarlet Moon demonic religion and was on the side of the Iron Dragon country. Qiu, true Lord Taishao expressionlessly turned into a streak of metal light that shot into the sky and was soon engulfed by it. The true Lord rank had appeared for less than an hour and almost didn't attack at all from the beginning to the end. He had flipped the tide of the battle. The news of the surrender of the 12 sects quickly spread throughout the 13 countries, causing a stir in all directions. Not long after, the experts of the Iron Dragon country entered the 12 clans, and the positions of the upper echelons of the sects also changed. The Broken Moon Clan. Hai Yun Master became the new clan master of the Broken Moon Clan and became the representative of the Iron Dragon country. First Elder had lost an arm and had used up his source of true spirit during the battle. His cultivation had decreased and he had to retreat. Hai Yun Master was deeply trusted by the Iron Dragon country and with the support of the Regulations Elder, he became the person with the most power in the Broken Moon Clan. After becoming the clan master, Hai Yun Master quickly gave the order to kill the traitor Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't follow the rules of the clan and ran away. He must be captured and brought back to the clan. If he resists, kill him. Hai Yun Master's emotionless voice sounded across the hall. The order soon spread across the entire clan. Not only that, the Broken Moon Clan also gave out a huge reward for killing Zhao Feng. Just the person who could provide information about Zhao Feng would receive 10,000 low-grade primal crystal stones. This wasn't a small amount even for those at the true human rank. As for killing Zhao Feng, the reward added together was 10 times higher. First Elder and Granny Luyue retreated and kept silent about the situation in the clan. If Hai Yun Master couldn't find anything and didn't have absolute confidence, he wouldn't dare to attack them. At this point in time, everyone in the Broken Moon Clan was panicking. However, Hai Yun Master was also a very cunning person. His actions were swift and decisive and he soon won the hearts of the people. Sky Cloud Forest, Misty Forest. Zhao Feng had been comprehending mental energy techniques recently, trying to get rid of the ghost mark on his body. As long as the nether spirit imprint remained on his body, that nauseating feeling that lingered around him would never disappear. However, this ghost mark was extremely high level and although Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye could sense its existence, it was extremely hard to get rid of it. As long as the nether spirit's imprint is on me, my safety will be threatened. If that mysterious division leader level skeleton recovers to its peak, I'm afraid. Zhao Feng searched through all the mental energy techniques in his mind, but there was nothing he could do. A month had passed since he had consolidated his cultivation. Zhao Feng's mental energy techniques had improved and he had some understanding of the ghost mark. The ghost mark should use the power of the soul, similar to the mysterious power of the curse of 100 graves. However, the ghost mark doesn't have any offensive power and only leaves a mark on my body, so the god spiritual I didn't instinctively resist it. Zhao Feng finally had some ideas. Next, he had another method and that was to use the power of the curse of 100 graves to get rid of the ghost mark. However, the curse of 100 graves was too dangerous and even Zhao Feng had to think about it. Half a day later. Zhao Feng once again entered the curse of 100 graves, and a terrifying power tried to invade his body from behind, but it was pushed back by a wisp of ancient aura from the god's spiritual eye. Meow meow. Before Zhao Feng moved, he took out the little thieving cat and let the little thieving cat divine a thing or two. The little thieving cat nodded its head proudly and took out the bronze coin. It tossed it in the air and it landed in its paws. After catching the bronze coin, the little thieving cat's eyebrows furrowed and it nodded and shook its head. There was a mysterious connection between Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat, but the answer he got was vague. Maybe even the little thieving cat couldn't give an answer. I can only give it a try. From the little thieving cat's divination, Zhao Feng could at least see one thing, and that was that there shouldn't be a 9 out of 10 chance of death. Right now, this was based on the fact that the little thieving cat's divination was accurate. Immediately following this, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and used the god's spiritual eye to circulate his mental energy techniques to sense the existence of the ghost mark. At the same time, he circulated his bloodline power, and the faint azure blood in his body entered the dimension of his left eye and slowly blocked the azure abyss. Once the abyss was blocked, Zhao Feng's left eye would return to its original black color and lose its light. This meant that Zhao Feng would temporarily seal the power of the god's spiritual eye. As expected. When the azure abyss was slowly covered, the invisible power of the curse attacked Zhao Feng from behind. Zhao Feng's body shuddered and he circulated his bloodline power to block the majority of the azure abyss, not daring to completely block it. Even so, a sliver of the curse's power still touched Zhao Feng's body. Zhao Feng's body went cold and he felt as if there were countless bloody hands digging into his organs. At this critical moment, he purposely used a mental energy technique and purposely revealed a flaw to attract the power of the curse. The power of the curse seemed to have a mind of its own and would invade through flaws, like how water in a pond would flow towards a hole. The flaw that Zhao Feng revealed was where the ghost mark was. Pew! 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 A weird sound seemed to come from the darkness. If Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could lock onto his back, he would find bloody white hands reaching into his body. If not for the god's spiritual eye blocking part of its power, Zhao Feng would have been parasitized by the curse. As time passed, Zhao Feng's life force weakened and his face became pale. He could only circulate his bloodline power and true power to protect himself. Bloodline power had a certain degree of protection, but he could only use a portion. The other portion was used to block the azure abyss. But his true power slowly weakened in front of the curse. Seeing this, Zhao Feng almost wanted to give up, but he found that the aura from the ghost mark was also fading. Zhao Feng's life force and true power weakened along with the ghost mark. Luckily, with the protection of bloodline power, Zhao Feng's life force source was not corroded. 3 days later, Zhao Feng slowly exhaled and retracted the azure blood that was blocking the abyss in his left eye. At this time, the ghost mark on his body finally disappeared, but at the same time, the true power in his body had weakened by a level. Was it worth it? Zhao Feng murmured and looked at the little thieving cat on his shoulder. When he dissolved the ghost mark, Zhao Feng's cultivation dropped to the 6th sky. The little thieving cat's eyes squinted and did not reply. Zhao Feng left the 100 graves forbidden ground and checked his body. He found that although his cultivation had dropped, it was more stable and the potential in his body was much greater than when he was at the 7th sky. This was like building a skyscraper. The lower the building was stable, the higher the building could be built. Zhao Feng had this feeling. He had broken through 2 ranks at the Alliance banquet and he had used the help of spiritual pills to increase his strength dramatically. But now, this problem no longer existed. After dissolving the ghost mark, although Zhao Feng had dropped a level, his foundation was more stable and his potential was greater. 1 peck and 1 drink, it was as if the heavens had decided it. At the same time, far away in the Iron Dragon country, on a mysterious altar, the ghost mark has been dissolved. How is this possible? Did an Origin Core Realm expert help? A hoarse voice resounded with a coldness that would make normal true human ranks tremble. The owner of the voice was a skeleton wearing a black robe. Its bones were silver and flashed with a dark purple light. Wait. That's the power of the curse of 100 graves. The skeletal division leader's expression changed dramatically. Division leader, those who enter the 100 graves forbidden ground can't escape. Those who are affected are obviously dead. A silver-striped blood zombie next to him chuckled. The skeletal division leader nodded its head. If the person affected by the ghost mark died, the mark would naturally disappear. Division leader, about the 100 graves forbidden ground, the blood corpse protector asked in a questioning tone. That's a top secret of the holy religion. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't enter. You don't need to know. Chapter 249. Misty Forest. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and opened his eyes. His expression had returned to normal. Now, apart from his cultivation dropping to the sixth sky of the ascended realm, his other aspects weren't much different from when he was at the peak of the Alliance banquet. Of course. His mastery of mental energy was even better than when he was at the Alliance banquet. After all, he had been trying to dissolve the ghost mark for the past month. At least I don't have to worry about the ancient shrine or the Scarlet Moon demonic religion after I've dissolved the ghost mark. Zhao Feng didn't regret it. The danger of the ghost mark was too high and those that were targeted were usually at the true spirit realm. He couldn't guarantee that the next time he would be targeted, it would be a thunderstorm. Calculating the time, Zhao Feng realized that 2/3 of the time he had agreed with First Elder had passed. According to the agreement, he needed to leave the 13 countries within 2 months and head towards the Canopy Great Country to complete a secret mission. Although Zhao Feng was unwilling, he still had to leave. At the same time, Zhao Feng wanted to head towards the bigger stage of the clan. Ever since Zhao Feng had seen the map of the northern continent, the 13 countries were at the very edge of the map and he was shocked. 2 days later, Zhao Feng came to Sunfeather City alone and found that the Zhao clan was the same as before. He didn't greet anyone from the Zhao clan. But for some reason, Zhao Feng felt uneasy, as if he had been targeted by something. He didn't dare stay any longer and soon left Sunfeather City. Soon, the sound of air being torn apart could be heard. Zhao Feng. Don't run. Follow me back to the clan and plead guilty. A loud roar sounded from behind. The newcomer was a middle-aged man wearing purple robes and holding a high-grade mortal weapon. He was leading 10 members at the sixth sky and above of the ascended realm. Plead guilty to the clan. Zhao Feng paused for a moment. Zhao Feng knew the middle-aged man at the half-step true spirit realm. He was a vice-head of the clan. Surrender now. The purple-robed middle-aged man activated his high-grade divine armament, causing astral winds to blow. Streaks of azure-purple saber chi condensed into a powerful chill that enveloped a radius of 30 meters. Crackle. Zhao Feng's hand flashed with lightning arcs and thunder. The blue electric threads were like tiny poisonous snakes, rushing towards the purple-robed middle-aged man and the others at a terrifying speed. When the two forces clashed, the purple-robed middle-aged man was knocked back. His entire body was numb, and it was difficult for him to move forward. The arm that held the saber was charred, and smoke rose from it along with his hair. The team he was leading was affected by the residual electricity. Their bodies were numb, and some even fell to the ground, unable to move. This is the strength of the Alliance's number 1. The group from the Broken Moon clan were terrified. With just one move, he had suppressed those at half-step true spirit realm and made everyone else lose their ability to fight for a short amount of time. What kind of terrifying strength was this? I heard that Zhao Feng had reached the 7th sky of the ascended realm during the Alliance banquet, but for some reason, he has dropped by 1 sky. If he was at his peak, I'm afraid. The purple-robed middle-aged man took a deep breath and suppressed the waves in his heart. When he had accepted the bounty, he had heard of Zhao Feng's name, but he wasn't convinced at that time. He was ranked third amongst those at half-step true spirit realm, and no matter how strong a junior was, what could he do to him? But after personally exchanging blows, he was stunned. Zhao Feng's strength was even more terrifying than the rumors said. After all, Zhao Feng's cultivation had dropped to the sixth sky of the ascended realm, and there was a difference of 2 levels between him and those at half-step true spirit realm. Who sent you to kill me? Zhao Feng's expression darkened. Because his cultivation had dropped to the sixth sky and he didn't use his bloodline power, he could only barely suppress the opponent just then. Zhao Feng. Clan Master Haiyun has already ordered for you to be wanted across the 13 countries. If you resist, you'll be killed. I advise you to surrender and return to the clan to confess your crimes. That way, you'll be able to keep your life. The purple-robed middle-aged man was wary and didn't dare to rashly attack. On one hand, he needed to wait for his group to recover, and on the other hand, he needed to stall for time until the clan's reinforcements arrived. When Clan Master Haiyun gave the order, he had said that if he saw Zhao Feng, he should try to stall for time and inform the elders to act. A junior at the Ascended Realm needed someone at the True Spirit Realm to act. This was what the purple-robed middle-aged man had thought at the time, but now, it seemed that Clan Master Haiyun's order wasn't without reason. Clan Master Haiyun. Kill without mercy. Zhao Feng's heart went cold. Next. Zhao Feng circulated his bloodline power and heavily injured the purple-robed middle-aged man and company in just a few moments. The purple-robed middle-aged man only managed to block a few moves before spitting out a mouthful of blood and losing an arm. If it wasn't because of their past relationship, Zhao Feng would have killed them already. Let me ask you, what happened in the Broken Moon clan and the 13 clans in the last 2 months? Zhao Feng's eyes focused on the other 7th sky ascended realm cultivator. The deacon at the 7th sky was dazed and his mind was controlled, answering everything he wanted to know. With this question and answer, Zhao Feng understood the situation of the 13 clans and the Broken Moon clan. True Lord rank descending. The 12 clans all surrendered. That traitor Haiyun master became the clan master of the Broken Moon clan and even put a bounty on my head in the 13 countries. The news made Zhao Feng angry and shocked. The descent of a true lord rank made him feel helpless. Although he hadn't been there personally, he could guess how the upper echelon of the 12 clans still chose to surrender despite having twice the number of people. What made Zhao Feng angrier was that Haiyun master had become the clan master. That day at the Dragon Concealing Lake, Haiyun master had ambushed the former clan master and killed the former clan master. The original Broken Moon clan master, Zhuang Xingmei. When Zhao Feng had caused trouble in the Floating Crest trial and the Regulations Elder and company wanted to question Zhao Feng, this beautiful clan master had helped First Elder protect Zhao Feng. Furthermore, this beautiful clan master was Ran Xiaoyuan's master and Zhao Feng respected her in his heart. This Haiyun master, killing intent flashed in Zhao Feng's eyes. This was the first time he had such strong killing intent toward someone. Before, in order to help Lord Guanjuan vent his anger, Zhao Feng only wanted to defeat Haiyun master and humiliate him once in the future. But he didn't think that Haiyun master would be so cunning and betray the Broken Moon clan, killing the beautiful clan master and putting a bounty on his head in the 13 countries. Luckily, there was First Elder and Granny Luyue in the Broken Moon clan. With these two, the Zhao clan and those related to Zhao Feng could be settled. I'll let you live this time, but next time, I'll kill you without mercy. Zhao Feng's body flickered, arcs of lightning crackling as he turned into a dim shadow and quickly vanished. He didn't dare stay any longer. If someone at the True Spirit Realm came, he would have nowhere to run with his 6th sky cultivation. 2 hours after Zhao Feng left, the Regulations Elder of the Broken Moon clan arrived. The Regulations Elder was the master of Lu Hu, the core disciple. In the Floating Crest trial, Lu Hu had been kicked out by Zhao Feng and the Regulations Elder still held a grudge against him. Furthermore, after the Floating Crest trial, Zhao Feng had slapped the regulations elder's face. After Hai Yun Master became the clan master, the regulations elder became his biggest supporter. After the regulations elder arrived, he searched everywhere but couldn't find Zhao Feng's whereabouts. Zhao Feng had the Yin shadow cloak which could hide his aura. After being chased, he hid in the sky cloud forest. If I'm forced into a desperate situation, I'll hide in 100 graves forbidden ground. Even those at the true lord rank won't dare to enter. Zhao Feng felt like a fish in water after entering the sky cloud forest. Both him and the little thieving cat had powerful concealment abilities and were safe after entering the sky cloud forest. Looks like I need to leave the 13 countries as soon as possible. Zhao Feng's heart was cold and he had already made up his mind. Now that there was no place for him in the 13 countries, he might as well go to the northern continent's sacred lands and enter the vast world of clans. Zhao Feng left on the same day and headed towards the 13 countries. On the way, Zhao Feng tried his best to travel in desolate places. Even so, his god spiritual I found the figures of cultivators from the clan and even the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. There was even one time where Zhao Feng's tracks were found by a low-ranked disciple of the clan. The disciple tried to report him but was instantly killed by Zhao Feng's mental energy technique. Zhao Feng's azure hair and one eye was too eye-catching. He had become famous at the 13 countries alliance banquet and was now wanted by the 13 countries. It would be hard for him not to be found. Therefore, Zhao Feng made a hat and black veil to cover his head and face. In order to increase his speed, Zhao Feng used a mental energy technique to control an azure sharp swallow at the 7th sky of the sky cloud forest. The azure sharp swallow wasn't big compared to other beasts of the same level and was only around 2 to 3 yards long when it spread its wings. However, it would be a huge mistake to underestimate it. The azure sharp swallow's wings were as thin as a cicada's blade and extremely sharp. In terms of flying speed, it was one of the top at the 7th sky. In terms of offense, it was also one of the top. However, its weakness was that its defense was weak and it wasn't as strong as other deadly beasts of the same cultivation. In the wilderness, even those at the half-step true spirit realm would be wary or even retreat if they met an azure sharp swallow. However, with Zhao Feng's mental energy technique, he easily controlled the azure sharp swallow. In terms of mental energy defense, the azure sharp swallow didn't specialize in it. The azure sharp swallow flew like a silver blade. It was as fast as lightning and quickly pierced through the clouds. In terms of flying speed, this azure sharp swallow is comparable to normal true human rank cultivators. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. Although those at the true human rank had the ability to fly, they could only do so for a short period of time and expended a lot of energy. In terms of continuous flight, it couldn't be compared to flying beasts. As such, flying beasts were extremely rare in the world of sex, and it was extremely difficult to tame one. However, this wasn't difficult for Zhao Feng. In less than 10 days, Zhao Feng had flown out of the 13 countries. The azure sharp swallow didn't disappoint Zhao Feng and could fly tens of thousands of miles in a day. However, what Zhao Feng didn't know was that he wasn't the only genius that had left the 13 countries and had a bounty on his head. There were also 2 others, Zhang Yuyue and Zhao Yufei. However, the bounty on Zhang Yuyue and Zhao Yufei's bounty was much smaller. Because Zhao Feng was first in the alliance and Hai Yun Master hated him, the bounty on his head was even higher than those at the true spirit realm. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. Whether it was Zhao Feng, Zhao Yufei, or Zhang Yuyue, they had all disappeared from the 13 countries and hadn't returned for a while, just like Xi and Wuhan who had mysteriously disappeared from Sun Feather City. Chapter 250. In the Azure Flower Continent, there was a vast and boundless wilderness between countries. The wilderness was a wasteland that had not been developed by humans. It was often occupied by a large number of fierce beasts and demonic beasts. There were even many demonic beast herds. Not only that. The barren lands were often accompanied by harsh environments and natural disasters. If one was the slightest bit careless, they would fall into eternal damnation. This place was similar to the Floating Crest Trial's third stage, the Sky Boundary Island, but it was bigger and the distance was longer. Therefore, it was extremely dangerous to pass through the barren lands between countries. Even those from the clan world wouldn't easily pass through. Of course. Those at the True Spirit Realm and those above the True Spirit Realm were an exception. On a barren desert. So, an extremely beautiful woman in plain clothes, carrying a divine weapon on her back, was leaping forward. Sword chi whistled around her body as she leaped forward. Locusts the size of broad beans suddenly appeared in the desert ahead. They were so dense that they covered the sky and covered the earth as they flew over. The plain-clothed girl exclaimed as an invisible sword intent condensed in her eyes. She waved her sword and a dazzling sword light shot into the sky. In that instant, a gap was created in the locusts in front of her and the invisible sword intent forced back a large amount of locusts. Although it's a bit risky, this is the best shortcut. After passing through 2 strong countries, we'll reach the number 1 sword clan of the northern continent, the 10,000 sword clan. Zhang Yuyue looked at the map in her hand. The 10,000 sword clan was one of the top clans of the northern continent and was only below the 10 great clans. Being the number 1 sword clan of the northern continent, normal geniuses of the sword didn't have the right to enter unless they were talented or had no background. However, Zhang Yuyue was confident that there weren't many people in the northern continent who had comprehended the seed of sword intent at her age. Furthermore, she had a recommendation letter in her hand. Because the Cloud Sword clan was controlled by the Iron Dragon country and the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, Zhang Yuyue's escape was equivalent to betrayal and she had a bounty on her head. Luckily, Zhao Feng had attracted the most attention and Zhang Yuyue left the 13 countries safely. In the barren lands, on another steep mountain. A young girl in a purple dress, who was as elegant as a fairy, floated in the air. Her black hair draped over her shoulders made her look like a fairy in the wind, and her clear eyes were like flawless crystals. Her face was as beautiful as a lotus flower, as if it was naturally carved out of snow porcelain. Her skin was like snow jade, revealing a faint blush. It would not be an exaggeration to describe this woman's beauty as devastatingly beautiful. The Three Origins sect is a great sect of the northern continent. It's a branch of one of the 10 great sects of the continent, the Heavenly Origin sect. I wonder if this journey will be smooth. Zhao Yufei was both happy and worried. The Three Yuan sect was, after all, a large sect that could even suppress the great sects of the Iron Dragon country. More importantly, this sect was a branch of the Sky Yuan sect, one of the top 10 sects on the continent. If they performed well, they might be chosen by the Sky Yuan sect. The 10 great sects were scattered all over the continent. There were at most 1 or 2 in the northern continent. Thus, one could see the weight of the Heavenly Essence sect. Big Brother Zhao Feng is being hunted down by 13 countries. He's facing much more pressure than I am. I believe that he'll be able to resolve this crisis. I hope that one day in the future. Zhao Yufei's eyes flickered with anticipation. 13 countries. In the middle of a complicated bay wilderness. I've finally escaped the 13 countries. Hai Yun Master. I'll return the humiliation I've suffered today double in the future. A person wearing a black veil and hat said with killing intent. Under the hat was an azure-haired youth with a dark expression and hatred. Zhao Feng's heart was filled with anger as he was being hunted by the 13 countries. However, the enemy was an expert at the True Spirit Realm and Zhao Feng couldn't do anything against him now that he had become the clan master. Zhao Feng believed that there was no longer a place for him in the 13 countries. Unless one day, he could reach the True Lord rank and change the balance of the continent. If he wanted to return to the 13 countries, he needed to be at least at the True Spirit Realm or else it would be extremely dangerous. There was only one thing left in Zhao Feng's mind, and that was to complete the mission his master had given him. The first mission was to ask for help. A map of the northern continent soon appeared in his mind and he flew in a certain direction. Zhao Feng had the god's spiritual eye, and with the help of the azure sharp swallow, he was able to easily avoid danger in the wilderness. The northern continent was filled with clans and strong countries. The Iron Dragon country was only one of the stronger forces, and if they could find help from other strong forces, there was a high chance that they could change the situation of the 13 countries. Zhao Feng sat on the azure sharp swallow, and his first destination was the strong country closest to the 13 countries, the Eagle country. However, this was destined to be a difficult path. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed. In the middle south of the northern continent, a giant river roared through the mountains, plains and deserts, as if it was going to split the continent in half. That majestic aura shocked the world. This river was called the Heaven's Anger River and was one of the 3 biggest river zones in the northern continent. It was located in the Canopy Great Country. The Heaven's Anger River was shockingly strong, and one wave could swallow a cultivator at the Ascended Realm. Furthermore, the sky above the river was filled with terrifying astral winds. Ordinary demonic beasts and birds would be instantly torn to pieces in midair. On the banks of the river, a green swallow with wings that were as thin as blades tore through the air, emitting a sharp cry as it slowly floated down. Although this bird wasn't big, its speed was shocking, and it attracted the attention of the people on the banks. At this moment, an azure-haired one-eyed youth walked down from the azure sharp swallow with a tired expression on his face. It's the rare azure sharp swallow. Apparently, this swallow's speed is extremely fast and its attacks aren't weak. Where did this youth come from to have such a precious flying beast? Many people's eyes twinkled as they discussed in low voices. The one-eyed azure-haired youth was obviously Zhao Feng. Rushing from the 13 countries, Zhao Feng was also tired. Luckily, he had already entered the Canopy Great Country and was extremely far away from the 13 countries. He believed that no one would recognize him. In the entire northern continent, there were only 3 countries that could be called great countries, and the Canopy Great Country was one of them. The second mission is to give Master's Token to a family in the Canopy Great Country with the surname Lu. Zhao Feng's eyes scanned the surroundings cautiously. Although the strongest person nearby was only at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm, he didn't underestimate them at all. This was the Canopy Great Country, and it wasn't like the 13 countries. 10 days ago, 2 to 3 bandits at the 6th sky of the Ascended Realm tried to steal Zhao Feng's azure sharp swallow. Zhao Feng originally wanted to deal with them easily, but without using his god's spiritual eye and bloodline power, he had to use tens of moves to deal with them. If this was in the 13 countries, it would be unimaginable. The Canopy Great Country was the sacred land of the northern continent where the sects and families interacted with the mortal world. Martial Dao was prevalent here. Even in the secular world, there were many martial Dao cultivators who had reached the transcending mortality stage. Zhao Feng had once fought with 2 experts at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm, but without using his bloodline power, he was only able to fight to a draw. And those 2 at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm were only high-level members of a family, similar to the Zhao clan in the Cloud Country. The sacred land of the Great Country has all sorts of cultivation techniques and skills that circulate in the mortal world. The Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi here is several times purer and thicker than the 13 countries. Apparently, some large forces even occupy blessed lands which are rich in resources. Zhao Feng had only been in the Canopy Great Country for tens of days, but he was wary of them and his actions became even more careful. Simply put, the Canopy Great Country was a place where cultivation was highly developed. If the 13 countries were a small village, then this place was a prosperous city. Therefore, under the same cultivation, the experts of the Canopy Great Country could easily crush the cultivators of the 13 countries. I hope I don't fail the second mission, or else, Zhao Feng stood on the shore and the aura from the angry Sky River made him feel pressured. There were only 2 missions on this long journey. The first was to ask for help. The second was to send a letter. The first mission ended in failure for Zhao Feng. Thinking back to what had happened before, a bitter smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. After leaving the territory of the 13 nations, he flew all the way to the nearest Eagle Kingdom. The Eagle Strong Country was the closest country to the 13 countries and the Iron Dragon Strong Country. It was even stronger than the original Iron Dragon Strong Country. If they were willing to help, they might be able to change the situation of the 13 countries. In the end, when Zhao Feng entered the Iron Eagle Strong Country, he found that the country was in internal conflict. How would they have the time to care about him? After that, Zhao Feng arrived at the second strong country called the Fire and Blood Strong Country. The Fire and Blood Strong Country was even stronger. Even if the Iron Dragon Strong Country and the Sky Rich Strong Country worked together, they might not be their match. However, the Fire and Blood Strong Country was quite far away from the 13 countries. The sects of the country weren't willing to help. What's more, Zhao Feng had almost lost his life in the Fire and Blood Strong Country. The Scarlet Moon demonic religion has infiltrated not only the Iron Dragon Strong Country, but the Fire and Blood Strong Country as well. Zhao Feng broke out in cold sweat as he thought back to it. When he was in the Fire and Blood Strong Country, he had been ambushed by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion. Luckily, he had the god's spiritual eye and avoided the danger. He couldn't help but rejoice that he had dispelled the Nether Soul imprint at all costs in the 13 countries, even at the risk of falling a heaven. With the failure in the Fire and Blood Strong Country, Zhao Feng's mission to ask for help had basically ended. Because the strong countries that followed were getting further and further away from the 13 countries, who would care about a kid from the countryside? In the end, Zhao Feng decisively gave up on the first mission. Not only was the hope of asking for help small, it was also filled with danger. He couldn't help but think back to what First Elder had said to him, the hope of asking for help is very small. The key is the second mission. If you can successfully complete it, not only will you be safe, the 13 countries might also be saved. At this moment, Zhao Feng stood in front of the furious Sky River. This was the foundation of the first mission's failure. Now, all his hopes were placed on the second mission. But right now, Zhao Feng had to pass through the furious Sky River to enter the true sacred land of Canopy Great Country. Canopy Great Country's current situation could be described as 1 emperor, 3 sects, 4 families. It could be said that it was chaotic and complicated. Amongst the 4 families, there was a family named Lu. Who knows if it was the same family as the Lu family that First Elder mentioned. Chapter 251. Zhao Feng thought that if the Lu family he was looking for was one of the 4 families of Canopy Great Country, then it wouldn't be a small matter. 1 imperial, 3 sects, 4 families. These 8 powers supported the life of Canopy Great Country and ruled over countless other powers. Any one of them had the power comparable to a strong country and could even sweep across a strong country. Of the 8 powers, the Imperials had the highest prestige and was the ruler of Canopy Great Country in name. With these 8 tyrannical forces coexisting in a large country, one could imagine the huge and complicated structure of the country. However, all of this didn't matter to Zhao Feng who had just arrived. He couldn't affect the situation in the 13 countries and in Canopy Great Country, he was an insignificant speck of dust. After sorting out his thoughts, Zhao Feng once again looked at the furious Sky River in front of him. The majestic water of the raging Sky River slammed against the shore and the pressure from the wind was enough to suffocate an ordinary transcending realm cultivator. The furious Sky River is the #1 river in Canopy Great Country and is one of the 3 major river zones in the northern continent. If one wants to enter the sacred land of Canopy Great Country, enter the prosperous Canopy Great Country capital or even head to the Lu family of the 4 great families, they must pass through this dangerous river. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as his azure hair blew in the wind. At this moment, it wasn't just Zhao Feng who wanted to cross the river. As far as the eye could see, the goal of these experts was to cross the river. The south of the Furious Sky River was a desolate area in Canopy Great Country, but it was several times more prosperous than the 13 countries. Only by passing through the Furious Sky River would one be able to enter the true sacred land of Canopy Great Country. Of the 8 strongest powers in Canopy Great Country, 6 of them were in the south of the Furious Sky River. The other 2 were great sects that occupied blessed lands and treasured lands. They were aloof from worldly affairs and weren't included in this list. Xiao, the sound of the air being pierced sounded as a true spirit realm aura appeared, causing the expressions of the people on the shore to change as they looked over. A 4-winged flying leopard flew through the air. Its size was comparable to an elephant and it carried a golden-robed noble at the true human rank as it slowly descended. 4-winged flying cloud leopard. It's a battle-type flying spiritual pet. This 4-winged flying cloud leopard's battle power can easily tear apart normal cultivators at half-step true spirit realm. The people on the shore were filled with awe. Putting aside the golden-robed noble, even normal cultivators at the ascended realm would have to retreat before the 4-winged flying cloud leopard. When the 4-winged flying cloud leopard landed, Zhao Feng could clearly feel the uneasiness of the azure sharp swallow. Although the azure sharp swallow wasn't afraid of the winged Feng, of the winged yen, the Feng of the azure sharp leopard wasn't afraid of the leopard. Feng's Tian for the leopard and winged saint. Winged bird Yen Feng, his azure sharp swallow was one of the rarer breeds, especially with its astonishing speed. Many people were envious of it. For Sky of the Ascended Saint Yen cultivators at Feng was the Ed Feng of Feng Zhao Feng flying spiritual beast. Imperial TB Feng to have Azure Wolf. Zhao Feng only had the cultivation of the 6th sky but he had a flying spiritual beast like the Azure Sharp Swallow. One had to know that normal cultivators at the 7th sky and even those at half-step true spirit realm didn't have such a good flying mount. As time went on, more and more people appeared on the shore. The weakest of these people were at least at the 4th or 5th sky of the ascended realm. Those at the 6th and 7th sky were more common. Soon, several cultivators at half-step true spirit realm appeared on the shore. The battle power of these people couldn't be measured by the sky cloud forest. Even Zhao Feng would find it hard to deal with normal cultivators at the 7th sky in a short amount of time. Of course, when everyone looked towards the golden-robed noble, they would feel a sense of pressure and respect. Logically speaking, someone at the true human rank should be able to fly across the river. Maybe this person doesn't want to waste too much energy. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. Those who had reached the shore were all waiting for the boats to cross the river. Normal boats obviously wouldn't be able to cross the new Sky River. Only specially made boats that were strengthened by arrays could withstand the storm and waves. However, these boats were extremely expensive and the materials they were made from were comparable to weapons. They also needed an array master to help them and their value was immeasurable. They were even more valuable than normal spiritual grade weapons. The sky crossing boat is almost there. Someone on the shore exclaimed. Everyone turned to look at the surging river. Zhao Feng's eyes were the strongest and he soon saw a dark silver boat that was dozens of yards long. The surface of the boat was carved with complex arrays that gave off an earthy yellow glow. Zhao Feng estimated that even if he used his full strength, he wouldn't be able to damage the boat in the slightest. It was because of the arrays that the boat wouldn't flip over in the waves and wouldn't be destroyed by waves that weighed 1,000,000 kilograms. There were many docks near the new Sky River. Usually, there would be these sky crossing boats that would send guests to and fro. At this point in time, there were only a few people coming off the sky crossing boats. Most people would think of ways to enter the sacred cultivation ground of the Canopy Great Country. After entering, there were very few people that came out. On the sky crossing boat, there were 4 sailors that were tall and sturdy. Their muscles seemed to be made of metal and they gave off an invisible pressure. These 4 sailors are all at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm and their bodies are strong enough to fight against those of the same rank. Zhao Feng was secretly surprised. If an expert of this level was young enough, they would have a chance to fight for the position of star at the Alliance banquet. There's a total of 49 spots. 300 low-grade primal crystal stones per person. A sailor at the bow of the ship said in a loud voice. So. As soon as he finished speaking, the gold-robed person landed on the sky-crossing boat. His powerful true spirit realm aura caused the expressions of the 4 sailors to change slightly, but they still took the primal crystal stones easily. 300 low-grade primal crystal stones. That's not a small amount. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. 300 low-grade primal crystal stones was equivalent to 30,000 substandard primal crystal stones. Of course, the Canopy Great Country couldn't be compared to the 13 countries. The main currency here was low-grade primal crystal stones. In the clan world, substandard primal crystal stones were low-grade currency and were mainly used in the mortal world. The Canopy Great Country has a high production of primal crystal stones and resources, so the prices are higher. Zhao Feng soon understood. He had received 10,000 low-grade primal crystal stones in the Alliance banquet, which was equivalent to 1,000,000 substandard primal crystal stones. This kind of wealth would be worth 1,000,000 in the 13 clans and would make others jealous. But here, 10,000 substandard primal crystal stones wasn't too much. Normal cultivators at the half-step true spirit realm would have more wealth than Zhao Feng. So. Everyone scrambled towards the heaven-crossing ship. The sky-crossing boat stopped by the shore. There was still a strong wind here that could disperse normal cultivators at the Ascended Realm. Therefore, the only entrance was at the front of the boat. 41. 42. 7 spots left. The sailor at the front of the boat said emotionlessly. As long as there were 49 people, the sky-crossing boat would leave. The remaining people on the shore were starting to panic. One had to know that each sky-crossing boat only left once every 10 days and the rest of the time was used to maintain the boat. Furthermore, there was only one sky-crossing boat every few tens of thousands of miles. Hurry! Zhao Feng didn't know about this since he had just arrived, so he was left behind. Chio! Zhao Feng's figure flashed through the air, leaving the sound of lightning behind him. However, his movements were a few beats slower than those who came prepared. When Zhao Feng arrived, there were 4 people fighting for the remaining 2 spots. Sky Frost dominating fist. One of them, a silver-haired youth, punched out with a roaring wind, causing a frosty wind to wreak havoc. Everything within 100 feet was dyed with a layer of icy blue light. The silver-haired youth had forced back another cultivator at the 7th sky and 2 at the 6th sky by himself. The power of this attack was almost on par with Zhang Yue at the Alliance banquet. Zhao Feng's heart moved. The Canopy Great Country was rich in resources and had many geniuses. In terms of the silver-haired youth's strength, Zhao Feng wouldn't be his match unless he returned to the 7th sky. After the silver-haired youth boarded the boat, there was only Zhao Feng and the other 3 left. Charge! The Yin shadow cloak on Zhao Feng's back fluttered as his body became darker and the sound of lightning became faster. In that instant, his speed surpassed the remaining cultivator at the 7th sky and the 2 at the 6th sky. Don't even think about it. The 3 weren't easy to deal with either. Their battle power was close to Ao Yuetian and Su Zishuan's. Lightning barrier. Zhao Feng didn't dodge and arcs of lightning surrounded his body like a spider web, forming a faint azure barrier. Boom! The attacks of the 3 landed on Zhao Feng's body, causing lightning to flash and his body to freeze. The cultivator at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm groaned and his body froze for half a breath while the other 2 were pushed back several yards with scorch marks on their bodies. Shwa! Before they could react, Zhao Feng had already boarded the crossing Sky River and obtained the last spot. After finishing all this, Zhao Feng's breathing quickened and his expression became solemn. The strongest feeling he had after entering the Canopy Great Country was competition. Competition was extremely intense. Even boarding a boat to cross the river now had to be fought over. 800 low-grade primal crystal stones. The sailor said expressionlessly. Why does it cost 800? Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. He clearly remembered that 300 primal crystal stones per person was a bit expensive. Your flying spiritual pet will cost an additional 500 primal crystal stones. The sailor explained impatiently. Zhao Feng silently handed over 800 primal crystal stones. The value of the azure sharp swallow was far more than 500 primal crystal stones. However, the four-winged flying cloud leopard next to the true spirit realm expert was nowhere to be seen. As if feeling Zhao Feng's gaze, the expert smiled faintly. You came from the outer regions of the Canopy Great Country, right? Zhao Feng quickly nodded his head. Hearing this, the gazes of the people on the boat were filled with disdain, as if they were looking at a country bumpkin. On the other hand, the expert's expression was calm and he patiently explained, I have a spiritual pet bag that's used to store flying spiritual pets. May I ask how much this spiritual pet bag is worth? Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the black bag on the other's waist. 100,000 primal crystal stones. The golden-robed nobleman said casually. 100,000 primal crystal stones. Zhao Feng took in a cold breath. Just this spiritual pet bag alone was worth 10 times what he was worth. Therefore, Zhao Feng had a new impression of the Canopy Great Country. Apart from the competition, the cultivators here were also very rich. Chapter 252. Meow Meow. Maybe because it smelled money, the little thieving cat came out of the interspatial bracelet and looked around with its eyes twirling. What a cute cat. Hee hee. There's actually such a small demonic cat. It looks very intelligent. The appearance of the little thieving cat immediately attracted the attention of the girls on the boat. Meow meow. The little thieving cat crossed its paws in front of its chest and acted arrogantly, which made the girls laugh. Zhao Feng's heart clenched as he cursed in his heart. What are you doing here? I might even have to pay extra primal crystal stones. Luckily, the little thieving cat was only the size of a palm and was considered a small pet, so they didn't have to pay extra primal crystal stones. The golden-robed person inspected Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat with interest, but didn't say anything else. Shua shua. After the boat was filled with 49 people, 4 bulky sailors opened the sails and a layer of azure blue light appeared, pushing the boat towards the other side. The waves of the furious Sky River were extremely strong, and even those at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm wouldn't be able to last long in there before dying at the bottom of the river. It was extremely difficult for the boat to travel in this wind and waves. This part of the furious Sky River is almost 100 miles wide, and that's a relatively narrow area. With our current speed, we probably won't be able to reach the other side without 4 to 5 days. Zhao Feng calculated. 4 to 5 days of time would pass quickly if used for cultivation. However, the problem was that the waves of the furious Sky River were extremely strong and the boat would shake violently. After all, the boat had to withstand the force of 1,000,000 pounds. Not only that. When the waves were the strongest, the boat would shake violently and there was the danger of it capsizing. Under such circumstances, not to mention cultivating in seclusion, even taking a nap was a luxury. While the crossing sky ship was rocking and shaking, most of the people were in a sorry state. They used their true power to stabilize themselves. The calmest person was obviously the golden-robed person at the true spirit realm. He sat on the boat like a nail and didn't move at all no matter how the wind howled and howled. Next were those at half-step true spirit realm, who were also relatively relaxed. These half-step true spirit realm experts were all extremely strong and had all cultivated the chi of half-step true spirit. They were much stronger than the half-step true spirit realm experts Zhao Feng had met in the 13 countries. Luckily, the heavenly ferry boat wasn't jolting all the time. At certain times, it would be abnormally calm, and the nearby river was also calm. Only when the sky ferry ship was stable would the experts on the ship communicate with each other and even conduct simple transactions. Little brother. Can you trade this azure sharp swallow? This Jia is willing to pay 2,000 low-grade primordial crystals. A fat middle-aged man in a gray robe quietly walked to Zhao Feng's side and struck up a conversation. 2,000 crystals. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly. If it was in the 13 clan alliances, it would be equivalent to 200,000 substandard primal crystal stones, which wasn't a small amount. However, he shook his head and said, "No deal." At the current stage, Zhao Feng still needed the azure sharp swallow. Furthermore, he didn't think that a flying beast like the azure sharp swallow was only worth this price. Apart from the golden-robed man's four-winged flying cloud leopard, no one else's flying beasts could beat Zhao Feng's azure sharp swallow. There were even some people who didn't have flying mounts. How about this? I'll give you 3,000 primordial crystal stones. This is equivalent to 300,000 substandard primal crystal stones. The gray-robed man gritted his teeth and said in a low tone. Zhao Feng still shook his head. 3,500. 4,000. 5,000. That's my bottom line. No matter what the gray-robed man said, Zhao Feng kept on shaking his head. The nearby people revealed playful or disdainful expressions. Those with eyes could see that the gray-robed man was trying to trick this country bumpkin from the outer regions. Unexpectedly, the youth wasn't shocked by the large number and didn't move at all. There were many places outside of the canopy great country that lacked resources. The heaven-earth yuan qi was thin and the production of primordial crystal stones was also very low. Normally, people from the outer regions would be shocked by a few thousand or even tens of thousands of primordial crystal stones. However, this youth was an exception. The fat gray-robed man raised the price to 8,000 primordial crystal stones and Zhao Feng still didn't move. This azure sharp swallow of mine is actually worth this price. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. The heaven-earth yuan qi in the canopy great country was thick and the production of primordial crystal stones was high. The rarer something was, the more expensive it was. The canopy great country focused on martial cultivation and many beasts in the wilderness were slaughtered. Some rare beasts were rare compared to the 13 countries. Normal people would only be able to get a good flying beast mount if they went to a dangerous area. The prices were high and the breeds were low. These two reasons caused the flying beasts in the canopy great country, especially the rare breeds, to be expensive. 8,000 primordial crystal stones. Are you selling it or not? The eyes of the gray-robed man dimmed and his expression became slightly dark. He was also at the seventh sky of the ascended realm, but his aura was much stronger than those at the same cultivation in the 13 countries. Zhao Feng estimated that this person's strength was on par with Su Zixuan and Ao Yuetian and he might even be more experienced. Just as Zhao Feng was about to reject, a voice came from nearby, "Oh. Gray Cat Eagle. Are you trying to force me to buy it?" A silver-haired youth slowly walked over. Zhao Feng had an impression of this youth. He had used the Sky Frost tyrannical fist to push back one cultivator at the 7th sky and 2 cultivators at the 6th sky of the ascended realm. His battle power was extremely strong. Without using his bloodline power, Zhao Feng didn't have a high chance of winning against this person. "Qi Jiu. This has nothing to do with you." The fat middle-aged man called Grey Cat Eagle had wariness on his face as he looked at the silver-haired youth. "It's a fair trade and the highest bidder wins. Do I not have the right to trade?" Qi Jiu harumphed coldly. They were both at the seventh sky of the ascended realm, and Qi Jiu's strength was comparable to Zhang Yu's. The gray-robed middle-aged man was speechless, and he couldn't stop Qi Jiu from bidding a higher price. In terms of talent and strength, the other party was much stronger than him. "I'll pay 10,000 primal crystal stones for your azure sharp swallow." Qi Jiu's voice was faint, but it contained a coldness that was hard to reject. 10,000 primal crystal stones was the sum of all the primal crystal stones Zhao Feng had. "I'll pay 11,000. The gray-robed man didn't want to lose. "Sirs, I've already said that the azure sharp swallow won't be traded for now." Zhao Feng's expression was calm as he shook his head. Many of the people present were slightly surprised after hearing the words. This youth from the outer regions could easily block such a large amount of primal crystal stones. "I heard that cultivators from the outer regions are very poor. Is that not true? Could this youth be the young master of some family or even the crown prince of some country?" The nearby people exchanged glances. Qi Jiu and the gray cat eagle exchanged glances and soon left. Qi Jiu didn't seem to care. A cold light flashed in the gray cat eagle's eyes. At this moment on the heaven-crossing ship, no one dared to make a move. Even if there was a feud, it would be resolved after they got off the ship. Zhao Feng's expression was still calm as the little thieving cat on his shoulder yawned. However, as soon as this wave ended, another few people walked over from the other side of the ship. "Your cat's so cute. Can you sell it to me?" A girl dressed in blue had a cunning look in her eyes. She was around 14 or 15 years old, and her skin was like jade. Her legs were like snow. The girl dressed in blue was younger than Zhao Feng, but her cultivation had reached the peak sixth sky. Walking with her was a cold youth in black who was around the same age as Zhao Feng. The girl and youth walked shoulder to shoulder. Although they were young, their cultivation wasn't ordinary. Behind the two was an elder at half-step true spirit realm who couldn't help but shake his head. "Not for sale." Zhao Feng coldly replied with 2 words. He was conflicted. Why did these people from the Canopy Great Country want to trade with an outsider like him? Was it because outsiders were easy to trick and bully? "Azure-haired brat. We're from the overlooking Mist Province's Lu family. If you know what's good for you, you can name a price and sell this cat to us." The youth in black said coldly, as if he was certain that Zhao Feng would win. Overlooking Mist Province's Lu family. Could this Lu family be related to one of the 4 great families of the Canopy Great Country, the Lu family? Many people on the ship were surprised. Lu family. These 3 people come from the Lu family. Are they the same as my target? Zhao Feng thought in his heart. He didn't change his expression and asked, "Name a price." "That's right." The cold black-robed youth seemed to be full of confidence. The girl dressed in blue looked at the little thieving cat and clenched her fists. "This cat is the smartest and most intelligent pet I've ever seen. I must buy it today. How about this? I'll give you a 50% discount." Zhao Feng said slowly. "Meow meow." The little thieving cat waved its paws to show its dissatisfaction. The girl dressed in blue liked its intelligence more and more. "What is the price? Just name it." The youth in black was slightly smug. This azure-haired brat must have heard of the Lu family's name. A 50% discount sounded pretty good. 1 billion primal crystal stones. Zhao Feng slowly said a number. Hearing this, the scene instantly became cold. 1 billion. This brat really knows how to ask for so much. Even if he destroyed the overlooking Mist Province's Lu family, he wouldn't be able to sell it for so many primal crystal stones. After the initial shock, the people present clicked their tongues in wonder and felt that it was a miracle. The youth in black and the girl dressed in blue were dazed. The youth in black's face turned green and white as he trembled in anger. He originally thought that a palm-sized kitten, a small pet cat, could not be worth much, at most 100 primordial crystal stones. Who would have thought that Zhao Feng would ask for such an exorbitant price? Before the youth in black could react, Zhao Feng laughed. I'm talking about peak-grade primal crystal stones. Peak-grade primal crystal stones. It wasn't just the youth in black, everyone else on the boat was also dazed. The noble at the true spirit realm couldn't help but smile and shake his head. Peak-grade primal crystal stones have disappeared from the continent long ago. Even high-grade primal crystal stones can't be seen. Even middle-grade primal crystal stones are extremely rare. The words of an expert at the true spirit realm obviously had the right to speak. It was obvious that Zhao Feng didn't want to sell it, so he gave a sky-high price. Azure-haired brat. You dare to play us? Just wait and see. The youth in black trembled in anger and turned to leave. He had never thought that this country bumpkin from another region wouldn't give him face and even tricked the two of them. Meow meow. The little thieving cat was full of joy and smugness as it rubbed Zhao Feng's face and looked at the youth in black with disdain. I really like this cat. The girl dressed in blue bit her lips as her eyes became watery. She glanced at the elder at the half-step true spirit realm, as if asking for help. Chapter 253. The girl in blue's watery eyes became hazy and she looked pitiful. The surrounding people couldn't help but feel pity and tried to persuade Zhao Feng to sell the little thieving cat to the girl in blue. Fine. 1 billion primal crystal stones. Zhao Feng laughed and said. The youth in black clenched his fists and glared angrily at Zhao Feng. If it wasn't for the fact that they were on the crossing sky ship, they would have already started fighting. Zhao Feng had stated a price of 1 billion primal crystal stones. It was obvious that he had no intentions of trading and was just playing around. After we cross the furious Sky River and enter the Canopy Sky Sacred Land, Uncle Lu will buy you an identical little catyao. The cloth-clothed elder behind the two of them laughed involuntarily. Meow meow. The little thieving cat had a disdainful expression and pointed at the sky with one finger. Then it raised two fingers and gestured. It's saying, unique. The people next to them could understand what it meant. Unique. Meow meow. The little thieving cat nodded its head proudly in response to everyone's words. Everyone was dazed and amazed. There was actually such a catyao in this world. This level of intelligence could be compared to the Yao beasts like the fox race. Uncle Lu. It already said that it's unique and you still want to buy the exact same one for Ting. The girl in blue pouted and started to sob. She looked unwillingly at the little thieving cat and didn't want to leave. The elder in black was extremely helpless. The youth in black stared at Zhao Feng with undisguised enmity. Zhao Feng was slightly speechless. In just half a day, he had offended two groups of people. The first group wanted to buy Zhao Feng's azure sharp swallow but was rejected and became hostile. The second group wanted to buy his little thieving cat and wanted to fight when they couldn't afford it. What kind of world was this? Zhao Feng couldn't help but shake his head. But thinking about it, these people thought that he was easy to bully. He was alone and his cultivation wasn't high. He also came from the outer regions of the Canopy Sky Great Country. These people thought that he was easy to bully. The Tiandu boat was still sailing slowly in the waves. Zhao Feng could feel the cold hostility from the silver-haired youth Qi Jiao and Grey Owl Eagle. In the other group of people, the black-robed youth's face was full of resentment. He felt like he had been humiliated by Zhao Feng, and he wanted to take action for the blue-clothed young lady. The eyes of the elder at half-step true spirit realm twinkled, but no one could tell what he was thinking. After we disembark, if these two groups of people gang up on us, Zhao Feng shuddered in his heart. Not mentioning the others, just the silver-haired Qi Jiao's strength was comparable to Zhang Yue. The strongest should be the clothed elder who had the Qi of half-step true spirit within his body. Even if he met a normal true human rank, he would be able to slightly resist. Of course. Zhao Feng reckoned that even if he couldn't win, he could rely on the speed advantage of the dark shadow cloak and the lightning inheritance to retreat. Little brother, my Overmist County's Lu family has a good reputation, and we won't force anyone to buy or sell, but we can't guarantee that others won't. If you don't mind, you can travel with us for the time being. The clothed elder messaged and suggested. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. The older the ginger was, the spicier. The clothed elder saw that Zhao Feng was in a disadvantageous situation and threw out an olive branch. If he helped Zhao Feng resolve his grudges, he would be doing him a favor. At that time, Zhao Feng wouldn't be able to keep his mouth shut when the matter of the cat demon was brought up again. Zhao Feng fell into deep thought. He wasn't afraid of these two groups. Even if he couldn't win, he would be able to retreat. However, this Overmist County's Lu family was a clue. Zhao Feng was unfamiliar with the Canopy Great Country. He wasn't sure which Lu family he was looking for. How about this, after we disembark, I'll travel with the three of you. You need to ensure my safety. As for the trade, if the little thieving cat is willing to go with you, I won't stop you. Zhao Feng replied. It's a deal. The linen-clothed old man's face lit up, and he immediately felt confident. Behind them was a large family with rich resources. The little thieving cat was extremely intelligent. If it was given benefits and better treatment, it would choose a good tree. After the clothed elder and Zhao Feng came to an agreement, he messaged the girl in blue and the black-robed youth. Great, as expected of Uncle Lu. You've succeeded immediately. The girl in blue said happily. It seemed like the little thieving cat was already in her hands. The black-robed youth harumphed lightly and the enmity on his face lessened. However, he still didn't look at Zhao Feng well. With the little thieving cat's help, Zhao Feng quickly got to know the three people from the Overmist County's Lu family. The clothed elder was called Uncle Lu. He was an elder of the Overmist County's Lu family. The girl in blue was called Lu Tingyu. She was a genius of the new generation. However, from how much Uncle Lu spoiled her, Zhao Feng could tell that her identity wasn't as simple as it seemed. The last black-robed youth was called Lu Dong. He was extremely in love with Lu Tingyu and was like a protector. Zhao Feng smiled in his heart. He had pretty much figured out the identities of the three. The Overmist County's Lu family was only a small family in the Canopy Great Country. It was like the Zhao clan in the Cloud Country. Even such a small family had an elder at half-step True Spirit realm. From this, one could see that the Canopy Great Country's cultivation had surpassed the 13 countries. Zhao Feng had come from a small corner of a mountain village. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him a country bumpkin after entering this prosperous era. Hee hee. Lu Tingyu took out many snacks that she liked and fed them to the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat's appetite was very big. It didn't eat normal food, but when Lu Tingyu took out some primal crystal stones and spiritual pills, its eyes instantly lit up and it ate happily. The cloth-clothed elder laughed. With the little thieving cat's greedy personality, it wasn't hard to take it away from Zhao Feng. Using this time, Zhao Feng obviously didn't forget to ask Lu Tingyu and company about the Lu family. May I ask Uncle Lu if there's a person called Lu Qinxin in the Lu family? Zhao Feng asked. He had come to the Canopy Great Country because First Elder had asked him to find this person. This mission was related to his future and could even change the situation of the 13 countries. Lu Qinxin. There's more than one person called Lu Qinxin in the Overmist County's Lu family. Uncle Lu shook his head. There were too many people with the same name, especially in the Canopy Great Country. Zhao Feng was speechless. Even in the past, there was more than one person with the same name as him in the Zhao clan. In the Canopy Great Country, one of the four major families, the Lu family, is our main branch. Under it, there are many sub-families and branch families. According to what I know, there are 7 sub-families under the main branch and there are probably hundreds of branch families. Uncle Lu explained. Zhao Feng couldn't help but click his tongue. The Lu clan was a main branch, and there were 7 branch clans under it. Under the sub-families, there were also many branch families. The Overmist County's Lu family was one of the many branch families. After understanding this, Zhao Feng's heart shook. It was hard to imagine how deep the Lu family's roots were in the Canopy Great Country and how much power they had. With the Overmist County's Lu family's level, they probably didn't even have the right to contact the main branch of the Lu family. Unless the 7 sub-families of the Lu family had at least 1,000 years of history and were able to contact the main branch of the Lu family. Is the Lu family I'm looking for the main branch family, sub-family, or branch family? Zhao Feng felt his head hurt. The second mission was just to send a letter. He originally thought it would be simple, but he didn't think it would be so complicated. From the current situation, the possibility of it being the main branch of the Lu family wasn't high, but it wasn't impossible. I hope it's a sub-family with some status. If it's a branch family, then it'll be troublesome. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. There were only 7 branches of the Lu clan, and all of them were powerful forces. Some were even overlords of a region. However, there were too many sub-families, hundreds of them. Zhao Feng didn't know that when he mentioned Lu Qinxin to Uncle Lu, the eyes of the golden-robed noble flashed. Lu Qinxin? Could it be that person? Impossible. Impossible. It should be someone with the same name. The golden-robed noble took a deep breath and shook his head. There were too many people with the same name. The golden-robed noble smiled. The crossing sky boat slowly traveled in the waves. Time passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, 7 to 8 days had passed. The crossing sky boat finally neared the other side. On the other side of the furious sky river, the sky was like a sapphire and the mountains and rivers were like the scenery in a painting. Zhao Feng looked into the distance and was deeply immersed. So charming. The other side is the sacred land of the Canopy Great Country. Lu Tingyu's eyes lit up and she clenched her fists as she was enchanted by this land. South of the furious sky river was a desolate area outside of the Canopy Great Country. Only by crossing the river could one enter the true sacred land. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye caught a limitless power from the furious sky river that seemed to be able to tear the land apart. The heaven-earth yuan qi on the other side of the furious sky river is several times denser than the 13 countries. I don't know what kind of power this river contains, but it can change the distribution of heaven-earth yuan qi in the northern continent. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and couldn't estimate the level of this power. The furious sky river is a very mysterious river. The number 1 inheritance of the 4 great inheritances, the Heaven's Legacy inheritance, appeared here tens of thousands of years ago, giving birth to the furious sky river, Uncle Lu said with a storytelling tone. Heaven's Legacy inheritance? An inheritance even stronger than the Scarlet Moon inheritance? Lu Tingyu asked curiously. Of the 4 great inheritances, the Scarlet Moon inheritance was ranked 3rd. Hundreds of years ago, this inheritance created the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch's achievement. The Heaven's Legacy inheritance is the oldest, most mysterious, and the frequency of it appearing is very low. There aren't many records about it in the ancient books. Uncle Lu smiled faintly. In history, there were too few records about the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. It was hard to confirm if it was the strongest, but it was definitely the oldest and most mysterious. Apparently, every time the Heaven's Legacy inheritance appears, it will cause a huge change in the heavens and earth and affect the entire continent. However, the number 1 inheritance of the continent hasn't appeared in a long time. The golden-robed noble who had been silent all this time suddenly said. Everyone laughed and talked about these legends, but they didn't take it seriously. Soon, the ferry arrived on the other side of the river. Swoosh, 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 everyone left the ferry one after another. The fastest was, of course, the noble in the golden robe. In a flash, he pierced the clouds and disappeared without a trace. Azure-haired brat. Azure-sharp swallow, are you really not going to help? The gray-robed middle-aged man, Gray Cat Eagle, slowly approached Zhao Feng with 2 reinforcements. On the other side, the silver-haired youth, Qi Jiu, had a sneer on his face. Chapter 254. The Gray Cat Eagle had pulled 2 reinforcements from who knew where, and their cultivations had reached the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm. They were at least on the same level as Su Zixuan and Ao Yuetian. Qi Jiu seemed to be alone as he stood on the other side with a cold smile. Apart from that, a few more people came down from the crossing sky ship and watched with twinkling eyes. At this point in time, the atmosphere became tense. All of this was because of the azure-haired brat that came from the outer regions. It just so happened that this young man who came from a remote and desolate place had a precious flying spirit pet and a rare and intelligent cat pet, which attracted the attention of everyone. Everyone thought that this brat from the outer regions had no background, no backing, and ordinary cultivation. He would definitely be easy to bully. Zhao Feng's expression didn't change as he smiled faintly towards Uncle Lu. According to the previous agreement, Zhao Feng would travel with the 3 from the Lu family and the latter would ensure his safety. Uncle Lu wanted to use a gentle method to help Lu Tingyu get the little thieving cat, and this was the best chance to do so. Everyone. This little brother is a guest of the overlooking mist Lu family. I hope that everyone can give me some face. Uncle Lu's gaze swept across the crowd as his half-step true spirit realm aura radiated like a mountain. In the Canopy Great Country, those at the half-step true spirit realm had a brilliant technique that allowed their true force to slowly turn into chi of true spirit and slowly turn into the true chi of true spirit. The higher the conversion rate of their chi of true spirit, the stronger they would be, and they would be infinitely close to the true spirit realm. According to Zhao Feng's observations, those at the half-step true spirit realm in the 13 countries could at most convert 5 to 10% of their chi of true spirit. On the other hand, those at the half-step true spirit realm in the Canopy Great Country could convert 20 to 30% of their chi of true spirit, which was twice as strong as those in the 13 countries. Although this conversion rate was slow, the higher the conversion rate, the higher the chance of breaking through to the true spirit realm. If the conversion rate could reach 90%, the chance of breaking through to the true spirit realm would increase by at least 50%. At this point in time, when Uncle Lu released his chi of true spirit, the expressions of the Gray Cat Eagle and company changed slightly. The chi of half-step true spirit has reached 30 to 40%. A few onlookers sucked in a breath of cold air. The aura of the half-step true spirit realm made everyone feel uneasy. The breathing of Gray Cat Eagle and the other 2 hastened. Their faces were filled with fear and hesitation. If Uncle Lu and the other 2 were to protect him, they would have almost no chance of defeating Zhao Feng. The overlooking Mist Lu clan is but an insignificant branch family with the surname Lu. It has nothing to do with the main Lu clan. A cold and indifferent voice came from the side. Qi Jiu proudly stood where he was, his silver hair fluttering in the wind. A thick frost aura condensed around his body. The surrounding area was instantly covered in a layer of blue frost, causing the temperature to plummet. That piercingly cold flow of frost pierced straight into the bone marrow, causing even Uncle Lu to be slightly moved. Lu Tingyu's brows furrowed slightly as she circulated her true power to protect her body. The black-robed youth Lu Dong's face was pale as he used his true power to resist, but it was a bit strenuous. Qi Jiu. You just need to restrain that old man and leave the rest to us. When the time comes, we will give you 40% of the profits. The Gray Owl Eagle was overjoyed. Qi Jiu's strength was unimaginably strong. At this moment, his aura was enough to fight against Uncle Lu. Zhao Feng originally thought that the opponent's strength was only close to Zhang Yue's, but from the looks of it, it was comparable to Zhang Yue at the Alliance banquet. Sky Frost Dominating Fist. Qi Jiu's fist emitted a frightening blue frost, and a beam of icy blue light with a diameter of 5 feet shot towards Uncle Lu and the other two with a frightening whistle. "Get out of the way!" Uncle Lu exclaimed as his Qi of half-step true spirit appeared on the surface of his body and formed a yellow palm. Pine. The illusory palm blossomed with an earthy brilliance. After tearing through the air, its might continued to increase. With incomparable strength, it smashed Qi Jiu's attack. Qi Jiu's figure retreated slightly and turned into a chain of cold shadows that attacked Uncle Lu. This Qi Jiu is so strong. His offense is close to Zhang Yue's and his defense is even stronger. Overall, he's at least half a level stronger than Zhang Yue, who hadn't comprehended the seed of sword intent. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. Of course, in terms of age, Qi Jiu was around 5 years older than Zhao Feng and Zhang Yue. After Zhang Yue had stabilized her seed of sword intent, her strength would definitely increase. Attack! The Grey Owl Eagle exclaimed as he led 2 reinforcements at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm towards Zhao Feng and company. Lu Tingyu's strength wasn't bad and she was able to block one at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm with her cultivation at the 6th sky. Lu Dong, on the other hand, was having a hard time dealing with the other at the 7th sky. Azure-haired brat. Hand over the azure sharp swallow and break your arms and legs and we'll consider letting you live. The Grey Owl Eagle revealed a cruel smile. With Qi Jiu blocking Uncle Lu, the 3 at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm would be able to crush Zhao Feng and company. Hee, is that so? I'm willing to give you the azure sharp swallow, but let's see if you have the ability to take it. Zhao Feng opened his hands and whistled as the azure sharp swallow descended from the sky. The Grey Owl Eagle paused slightly. But in the next instant, the azure sharp swallow turned into a streak of azure light that couldn't be seen by the naked eye and flashed towards the Grey Owl Eagle. Shwa! The Grey Owl Eagle rolled on the ground and a bloody gash was left on his shoulder. If he hadn't dodged in time and used his true force to protect himself, he would have been sliced in half. The feathers on the azure sharp swallow were as thin as cicada wings and were extremely sharp. Adding on the fact that it was light, its attack speed was extremely fast. Therefore, under the sudden attack, the Grey Owl Eagle was careless and suffered a small loss. Bastard! The Grey Owl Eagle was furious as he charged towards the azure sharp swallow, trying to capture it. However, the azure sharp swallow was a beast at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm. How could it be so easy to deal with? Under Zhao Feng's control, the azure sharp swallow unleashed lightning-fast attacks, piercing through the air time after time and forcing the Grey Cat Eagle into a dangerous situation. The spectators nearby were shocked, and they began to discuss among themselves. Could this azure-haired brat be a rare beast tamer? Beast tamer is a rare profession in the Canopy Great Country. At this moment, in the battle between the two sides, Zhao Feng was the most satisfied. He didn't need to fight and could use mental energy techniques to control the azure sharp swallow to suppress the Grey Owl Eagle. The azure sharp swallow's speed and attack are impeccable. Its only weakness is its defense, but under my control. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's lips. His god-spiritual eye saw the Grey Owl Eagle's path and flaws, allowing the azure sharp swallow to be undefeatable. Although the Grey Owl Eagle was strong, it couldn't do anything. On the other side, Uncle Lu and Qi Jiu were fighting and his gaze swept across Lu Tingyu and the other two. In reality, Uncle Lu had held back because he wanted to give Lu Tingyu and Qi Jiu a chance to fight. Lu Tingyu didn't disappoint him. She was talented and had great battle power, easily dealing with the opponent at the 7th sky and even gaining the upper hand. As for the black-robed youth Lu Dong, he was able to barely hold off an opponent at the 7th sky. However, what surprised Uncle Lu the most was Zhao Feng. This green-haired youth from the outer realm was able to suppress the powerful Grey Cat Eagle effortlessly with the help of a flying beast mount. After all, The gray owl eagle's strength was the strongest of the other three, apart from Chijiu. This mental energy ripple, he's using a special secret technique to control the azure sharp swallow to fight. Could he really be a beast tamer? Uncle Lu felt the faint mental energy ripple from Zhao Feng's body. Beast tamer was a rare profession. If one wanted to tame a beast as a mount, they needed to be able to communicate with the beast. Therefore, those with strong mental energy had a great advantage in comprehending this path. In reality, Zhao Feng had several chances to control the azure sharp swallow to deal a fatal blow to the gray owl eagle and end the battle. However, he also wanted to understand the strength of the Lu family. Meow meow. The little thieving cat sat on his shoulder and waved its paws, dancing and cheering for everyone. Zhao Feng nodded his head with a smile and almost clapped. This scene almost made the gray owl eagle and company explode with anger. Uncle Lu was stunned. It seemed like the human and cat were just watching a show. Hee hee. Is the little thieving cat cheering me on? Lu Tingyu's face was full of joy as she attacked even harder, forcing the opponent to retreat. She didn't see the playful expression on the little thieving cat's face. Damn it. The human and cat are just watching and not doing anything. Lu Dong was extremely angry. He already had a prejudice against Zhao Feng. He had been beaten by one of the experts at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm to the point where he couldn't fight back at all. If Zhao Feng helped, he could at least turn the situation around. However, the human and cat didn't seem to have any intentions of interfering. After fighting for a long time, Lu Dong couldn't hold on any longer. It's about time. Uncle Lu nodded his head and the chi of half-step true spirit within his body surged as he counterattacked. After all, he was an elder of the family and his chi of half-step true spirit had been converted to 30 to 40%, allowing him to quickly push back Chijiu and gain the upper hand. However, Chijiu was stronger than expected and a layer of ice had formed on his body. Not only that. A bloodline power surged out of Chijiu's body and caused ice to roar as his battle power increased. Damn it. This Chijiu has a bloodline power. Uncle Lu was stunned. The current situation was hard to get off. He originally thought that he could easily control the situation. He didn't think that Chijiu would be so troublesome. At this moment, Zhao Feng nodded his head. Hee hee, little thieving cat, it's your turn. Meow meow. The little thieving cat shook its head unwillingly. Before it could react, Zhao Feng grabbed its ears and threw it towards the gray cat eagle. What's going on? The gray cat eagle was fighting with the azure sharp swallow and found that the little thieving cat was being thrown over by Zhao Feng like a ball. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he stabbed towards the little thieving cat. Shwa! The little thieving cat suddenly disappeared from his sight. Before he could react, a cat claw slashed across his throat. Plop! The gray cat eagle's throat was cut open and blood gushed out like a fountain as he fell to the ground. Meow meow. The little thieving cat appeared from its hiding state. This cat knows how to become invisible. This cat is cunning. It killed the gray cat eagle in one move. The expressions of the spectators changed dramatically. It was obvious that the little thieving cat next to Zhao Feng wasn't a normal pet. After the gray cat eagle was taken care of, the situation became one-sided. Chijiu gave a deep glance at Zhao Feng before quickly retreating from this place. Uncle Lu let out a breath and broke out in cold sweat. He almost lost control of the situation just then. His gaze soon landed on Zhao Feng and asked cautiously, "May I ask if little friend is a rare beast tamer?" Beast tamer? Zhao Feng felt the expectation and respect in Uncle Lu's eyes. That's right, I'm a beast tamer. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Chapter 255. That's right, I'm a beast tamer. Zhao Feng said calmly and shamelessly accepted this title. Uncle Lu and the surrounding people believed 80 to 90% of it. After all, they had personally seen Zhao Feng command the azure sharp swallow to suppress the gray cat eagle, who was at the seventh sky of the ascended realm. On the other hand, the black-robed teenager, Lu Dong, had a hint of doubt on his face. This youngster who came from a remote and desolate place has suddenly become a revered beast tamer. This is too fake. The Canopy Great Country was extremely large and had a high demand for flying mounts. No matter how fast humans were, even those at the true spirit realm couldn't travel tens of thousands of miles. In this place, almost every powerful cultivator had a spirit pet as a mount. The gold-robed noble from before was no exception. He had a four-winged flying cloud leopard, which was useful in both battle and flying. Think about it. How painful was it to rely on one's feet to travel tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of miles? All in all, spiritual pets were widely used in the Canopy Great Country, and in some areas, they were resources that were fought over. It was because of this that beast tamers were very popular in the Canopy Great Country. However, this profession was too rare, even rarer than array masters and pill masters. Therefore, after receiving Zhao Feng's confirmation, Uncle Lu's expression was filled with excitement. "So you're a beast tamer. No wonder you have such a cute pet." Lu Tingyu's bright eyes sparkled as she stared at Zhao Feng with a look of worship. Of the three, only Lu Dong's expression was dark and filled with suspicion. Under normal circumstances, he would probably believe it. However, Lu Dong was biased against Zhao Feng and couldn't accept this reality. "Uncle Lu, Sister Tingyu, I've never heard of such a young beast tamer," Lu Dong questioned and still held enmity towards Zhao Feng. "Dong, don't be rude." Uncle Lu roared and interrupted Lu Dong's words. Beast tamers were an extremely scarce position for a small clan, and it was hard to find one even if one had a lot of money. Take the Lu family of Overlooking Mist as an example. They only had a few beast tamers at the apprentice level. It was not a big problem for them to be responsible for raising and treating the spiritual beasts as mounts. However, it was very difficult for them to truly tame the demon beasts. In the past, the Overlooking Mist Lu family also had official beast tamers, but they did not stay for long before they were poached away by other families. "I don't need to prove my identity to anyone." Zhao Feng calmly glanced at Lu Dong, his voice full of confidence. "Meow, meow." The little thieving cat vigorously nodded its head and gestured with its paws, as if it was testifying for its master. Seeing this, Uncle Lu and Lu Tingyu were even more convinced. Lu Dong felt a little guilty and did not dare to speak rashly. If not for the fact that he was a beast tamer, Zhao Feng, a youth from the outer domain with a mere cultivation of the 6th level, would not have been able to possess such a powerful flying spirit pet as the azure sharp swallow. "Brother Beast Tamer, does our previous agreement still stand?" Lu Tingyu's eyes flashed with a hint of cunningness. Uncle Lu smiled. "According to our previous agreement, if the little thieving cat is willing to leave with us, you won't stop us." "Of course it stands, but it's not so easy to take a spirit pet from the hands of a beast tamer." Zhao Feng faintly smiled. "Meow meow." The little thieving cat did somersaults on Zhao Feng's shoulder and wagged its tail. It had an arrogant expression as it rejected the temptations of Lu Tingyu and the others. This result was out of Uncle Lu's expectations. If the little thieving cat could be so easily taken away, then Zhao Feng would be unworthy of his title as a beast tamer. Uncle Lu sighed and suggested, "How about this, little brother, give Ting, 100 days. Furthermore, you are a beast tamer, so you won't use any other methods in the process." "Of course I won't interfere, but 100 days, Zhao Feng pretended to hesitate. At this point, he had already achieved half of his goal. "Hee, aren't you looking for a girl from the Lu family?" "Our goal is one of the 7 branch families of the Lu family, the Flooding Lake Lu family," Uncle Lu said with a smile. The Flooding Lake Lu family. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be overjoyed. He had finally managed to contact a branch family of the Lu family. The Flooding Lake Lu family is an overlord in the Flooding Lake area. It'll be easier for little brother to find someone there. According to what I know, the Flooding Lake Lu family has a relatively complete genealogy that'll be good for finding people. Seeing that Zhao Feng was moved, Uncle Lu immediately gave him another shot of heart strengthening. Uncle Lu already knew that Zhao Feng was going to find someone on the sky crossing ship. That's fine. Zhao Feng nodded his head solemnly. That was great. Lu Tingyu couldn't help but jump up and play with the little thieving cat. Uncle Lu let out a breath. If he could form a relationship with a beast tamer with great potential, it would only be beneficial for the overlooking Mist Lu family. The others didn't notice. Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat looked at each other with smiles in their eyes. They didn't know that ever since Zhao Feng pretended to be a beast tamer, he had this intention. He wanted to use Uncle Lu and company to continue searching. What made Zhao Feng overjoyed was that he would have the chance to enter one of the 7 branch families of the Lu family. This would be of great help to his plan of finding people. For this, Zhao Feng promised to give the little thieving cat 100 low-grade primal crystal stones as a fee. If it wasn't for the little thieving cat, Zhao Feng wouldn't have been able to contact the Lu family so easily. Getting close would only make them wary. At the same time, Zhao Feng complained in his heart, "Master, the information given for this mission is too little. In such a large canopy great country, there are hundreds of families with the surname Lu and countless people called Lu Qinxin." In reality, Zhao Feng had wrongly blamed First Elder. First Elder had never been to the canopy great country and didn't know much about that person. Even getting to know that person was something that happened a long time ago. First Elder's true goal was to help Zhao Feng settle down. As for the situation of the 13 countries, he didn't have much hope. After crossing the Angry Sky River, Zhao Feng, Uncle Lu and company officially traveled together. Although Uncle Lu was an elder of the Lu branch family, he hadn't crossed the Angry Sky River many times. Every 5 years, the overlooking Mist Lu branch family will recommend 1 or 2 geniuses to the other branch families. Uncle Lu didn't hide his goal. Zhao Feng revealed an expression of understanding. He was lucky enough to receive this kind of recommendation back at Greenleaf Village. Back then, he and Zhao Shui had been recommended to the Zhao family of Sun Feather City and they had walked on different paths. Lu Tingyu and Lu Dong had also been recommended to higher-level families. Wasn't this similar to what Zhao Feng had gone through? Furthermore, Zhao Feng could see that Lu Tingyu's talent far surpassed Lu Dong's and the two's paths in life would be completely different. Although Lu Dong's talent wasn't bad and was on par with Yang Gan's. Pa! Uncle Lu lightly patted a special bag on his waist and a green feathered eagle appeared in the mist. Its wings were almost 10 yards long. Zhao Feng didn't have a spiritual pet interspatial bag, so he could only be envious. Come on up. Uncle Lu patted the back of the eagle and had them sit on it. In terms of rank, the green-feathered eagle had reached the 7th sky, but in terms of speed and rarity, it wasn't as fast as Zhao Feng's azure sharp swallow. However, the eagle was big and could carry almost 10 people at once, which was better than the azure sharp swallow. The Flooding Lake Lu family wasn't too far away from the Angry Sky River. It was about half the distance of the Cloud Country. On the way, they flew past many mountains and rivers, which opened Zhao Feng's eyes. The sacred land of the great country was filled with heaven earth yuan qi and martial arts were flourishing. In the mortal world, 1 out of 10 people would be at the ascended realm. In the sky, one could often see flying beasts and the figures of those at the true spirit realm. Uncle Lu wasn't too surprised by this. Experts at the true human rank could be seen everywhere in the great country. Only those at the true mystic rank and above were extremely rare. Those at the true lord rank stood at the top of the clouds and could summon clouds and rain with a flip of their hand. Several days later, the azure feather giant eagle entered a bay and lake. The flooding lake was slightly famous in the Canopy Great Country, and there were dozens of families and clans here that could be ranked. Zhao Feng's god spiritual I found that the heaven-earth yuan qi here was much purer and the chances of treasures appearing were much higher. In the flooding lake area, the Lu side family is one of the three strongest forces. The flooding lake city is in front. Uncle Lu had been here a few times and explained to Zhao Feng. In reality, Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye had already seen the flooding lake city in front of them, and the outline of the entire city was visible. The entire flooding lake was in the shape of a heart. The land that protruded into the flooding lake was a peninsula that was close to the center of the lake. As for the flooding lake city, it stood at the center of the peninsula, its scenery beautiful and majestic. After the green-feathered eagle flew into the flooding lake city, Uncle Lu and company became cautious. In the sky above the flooding lake city, powerful auras would occasionally flash by. Most of them were at the half-step true spirit realm or even the true human rank. Zhao Feng's god spiritual eye scanned the entire area and couldn't help but sigh. Compared to the prosperity here, the 13 countries were really poor and remote. The flooding lake Lu family lived in the eastern part of the flooding lake city and occupied a large piece of land. After entering the flooding lake city, there was a rule: large flying beasts had to be put into a spiritual pet bag and weren't allowed to be brought into the city. Uncle Lu silently put away the green-feathered eagle and the group landed and prepared to enter the city. Zhao Feng was slightly depressed. He didn't have a spiritual pet bag and couldn't afford one right now. Stop! Several guards flew over and stopped Zhao Feng. In theory, his azure sharp swallow was also a large flying beast. After all, it was several yards wide, and if it entered the city and accidentally hurt someone, it would be a disturbance. In the sky above the flooding tiger city, there were many guards patrolling on flying beasts. Their strengths ranged from the 5th to 7th sky of the ascended realm, and some captains had even reached the half-step true spirit realm. Zhao Feng only had two choices: first, enter the city and have the azure sharp swallow stay outside. But in this way, if the azure sharp swallow stayed in the outer sect, it would be easy for other experts to spy on it. Second, enter the city. Chapter 256. Zhao Feng sighed. Since he was new here, he could only leave the azure sharp swallow outside the city. He planned to leave the azure sharp swallow in the clouds and use his god spiritual eye to monitor it. Right at this moment, Uncle Lu spoke: "Sirs, according to the rules of each city, beast tamers can bring their spiritual pets into the city. In any world, no matter how strict the rules were, there would always be a small number of people who enjoyed special privileges. For example, those who had reached the true lord rank could ride their spiritual pets into the city and no one could stop them. Correspondingly, beast tamers were a special group and were in short supply in the Canopy Great Country. Furthermore, beast tamers would often bring many beasts with them, and their spiritual pet bag might not be enough. Towards this group, the cities would take care of them." Beast tamer. The leader of the guards at half-step true spirit realm looked suspiciously at Zhao Feng. The other guards were suspicious and didn't believe him. The flooding lake city was an important city of the Canopy Great Country, and there were obviously many beast tamers. However, these beast tamers were all famous and the guards knew them. The youth in front of them had one eye and azure hair, which added a sense of wickedness. He didn't look like a beast tamer at all. Hee, when did a young beast tamer appear in the flooding lake area? I want to see what you can do. A bright laugh sounded. As soon as the words were said, a two-headed red bird carrying a purple armored youth flew over. Young Master Lu. Captain Lu. The chief guard and the others bowed respectfully. This purple armored youth's cultivation was also at half-step true spirit realm, but his aura was much stronger than Uncle Lu's. His chi of half-step true spirit has reached 60%. Zhao Feng was shocked. It was Uncle Lu who recognized the youth immediately: young Master Lu Yuan. The purple-armored youth's gaze swept over Uncle Lu and company and felt that they were familiar. You are, Uncle Lu quickly revealed his identity. Hee, so it's the branch family of the overlooking mist Lu family. I almost forgot, right now is the time for the branch family. Young Master Lu Yuan finally remembered. In the past, Uncle Lu had sent a branch family disciple to the Flooding Lake Lu family to see this young Master Lu Yuan. After the introductions, Zhao Feng knew that this young Master Lu Yuan was the adopted son of the current head of the Lu family and he was an outstanding figure amongst the younger generation. This is brother Zhao Feng. He's a beast tamer that my clan met recently and he came to the Flooding Lake city together. Young Master Lu Yuan faintly nodded his head, obviously not agreeing with Zhao Feng. Young Master Lu Yuan faintly nodded his head, obviously not agreeing with Zhao Feng's identity as a beast tamer. In this era, there was a shortage of beast tamers and it was to Feng beast tamers. It is my honor to meet such a young beast tamer. Lu Yuan, Lu Yuan. This Feng, yes, the two-headed flaming bird. Flame Feng, Ro, Lu Yuan's beast. As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, the two-headed flaming rage bird he was sitting on let out a sharp cry. Flames began to rise from its body. Lu Yuan was forced down from the two-headed flaming bird. Zhao Feng sneered coldly in his heart. This Lu Yuan sure knew how to act. He purposely made the two-headed flaming bird angry to test him. Anyone with eyes could tell that it was too much of a coincidence for Lu Yuan's mount to fly into a rage at this moment. Uncle Lu and the other two wanted to say something, but they hesitated. After all, Zhao Feng was an official beast tamer. He should be able to solve such a common problem. Furthermore, they wanted to understand Zhao Feng's beast taming ability. Sure, but I need a reward. Zhao Feng calmly looked at the raging two-headed flaming bird. Reward? Everyone was taken aback. Zhao Feng sure was arrogant. However, those official beast tamers didn't seem to be easy to please. As long as you can calm my little red flame, I can satisfy any ordinary request. Lu Yuan said confidently. Zhao Feng immediately requested for Lu Yuan to help him find the whereabouts of a girl surnamed Lu. No problem. Lu Yuan didn't hesitate. His little red flame was purposely going berserk. Under this situation, if Zhao Feng could really calm it down, it would prove that he was truly talented. As for an official beast tamer, even the Flooding Lake Lu clan would need to befriend him. Most of the requirements could be fulfilled. Zhao Feng nodded his head and slowly walked towards the two-headed flaming bird. The two-headed flaming bird flapped its wings and flames soared into the sky. It was extremely violent and it was trying to show off to Zhao Feng. Good, good, Zhao Feng smiled and stretched out a finger, drawing circles at the two-headed flaming bird. At the same time, he slowly walked towards the two-headed flaming bird. Meow meow. The little thieving cat appeared from Zhao Feng's shoulder and bared its teeth, teasing the two-headed flaming bird. The two-headed flaming bird was dazed and didn't move. Firstly, Zhao Feng's finger was drawing circles, which seemed to contain a mysterious power that calmed the mind. Secondly, the little thieving cat's teasing seemed to have an effect as well. Anyways. One human and one cat, safe and sound, arrived in front of the two-headed flaming bird. Good, good, Zhao Feng reached out and patted the two-headed flaming bird's head. This scene caused the nearby people to be stunned. In front of the enormous two-headed flaming bird, Zhao Feng's figure was as small as a dwarf. However, he used such a simple method to comfort the giant bird. However, the two-headed flaming bird was extremely quiet. Lu Yuan was shocked and immediately whistled. However, the two-headed flaming bird only trembled slightly and didn't have any obvious reaction. At this time, Zhao Feng stood on the two-headed flaming bird. Without my permission, no one has ever been able to stand on my little red flame, apart from beast tamers. A light flashed in Lu Yuan's eyes. When Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat stood on the two-headed flaming bird, Lu Yuan found that his little red flame was trembling. Meow, meow, the little thieving cat copied Zhao Feng's actions and used its paw to pat the little red flame's head, as if saying, "Good, good." Lu Yuan, Uncle Lu, and company all had extremely interesting expressions. This was especially so for Lu Yuan, whose face twitched. His little red flame had an explosive personality and had never been humiliated like this before. That little cat dared to tease the little red flame. Although Lu Yuan was slightly angry, he maintained a polite expression. Master Zhao is indeed able to communicate with the spirit. This Lu admires you. I will do my best to fulfill your request after returning to the clan. N. Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly, giving off the aura of a beast tamer. The more he acted like this, the more careful Lu Yuan and company had to be. Even for a large family like the Flooding Lake Lu family, it wasn't easy to recruit a beast tamer. After this, with Lu Yuan leading the way, the group was unobstructed. No one stopped Zhao Feng and the Azure Sharp Swallow. When his title of Beast Tamer gained initial recognition, he would be able to enjoy this privilege. Beast tamers had the ability to tame beasts. Putting aside their own spiritual pets, even the spiritual pets of others nearby would be abnormally quiet. Soon after, Zhao Feng and company were treated as guests and entered the Flooding Lake Lu family. Uncle Lu and the other two, on the other hand, benefited from it, receiving unprecedented treatment. The Flooding Lake Lu family even sent an elder at the True Spirit Realm to receive Zhao Feng and company. This elder at the True Spirit Realm received Zhao Feng and was willing to give him the treatment of a first-rank guest advisor. First-rank guest advisor was almost the same as an honorary elder of the Lu family. An honorary elder usually needed to reach the True Spirit Realm. From this, one could see the weight of a first-rank guest advisor. Let me think about it. Zhao Feng faintly nodded his head but didn't immediately agree. The most important thing for him right now was to deliver the letter and complete his master's mission. He remembered that master had said that the person who received the letter would have some arrangements for him. But if First Elder knew that Zhao Feng had the chance to become a first-rank guest advisor of a family in the Canopy Great Country, he would probably immediately agree and not send the letter. This was because First Elder's goal was to arrange for Zhao Feng to stay in the Canopy Great Country. That letter was just a connection. However, becoming a first-rank guest advisor of the Flooding Lake Lu family was much better than being a core disciple. Zhao Feng didn't need any connections at all. Just a fake beast tamer was able to achieve an unimaginable effect. This was something that even First Elder couldn't predict. But obviously, Zhao Feng didn't understand his master's true intentions. He only had one simple thought in his mind, and that was to deliver the letter to the real owner. This is a Flooding Lake Lu token. With this token, Brother Zhao can move freely in the Flooding Lake Lu family's territory. The elder at the True Spirit Realm wasn't surprised or unhappy and instead gave him a token. Flooding Lake Lu token. Uncle Lu couldn't help but reveal an envious expression. Beast tamers were too popular in the Canopy Great Country and all the major forces fought for them. This Flooding Lake Lu token represented Zhao Feng's esteemed guest status in the Flooding Lake Lu family. With this token, it would be easier for Zhao Feng to do things in the Flooding Lake area. After Zhao Feng's matter was settled, it was Uncle Lu's and company's turn. You two, come over and test your talent. The elder at the True Spirit Realm faintly scanned Lu Tingyu and Lu Dong and said expressionlessly. Quick. Uncle Lu was filled with anticipation and nervousness. The elder at the True Spirit Realm didn't have any testing tools and closed his eyes to feel Lu Tingyu's pulse. Bloodline inheritance. This is the ancestral bloodline of our Lu clan. The elder at the True Spirit Realm exclaimed. A faint green blood appeared on Lu Tingyu's skin. It was the color of green jade. Bloodline inheritance was extremely rare even in the Canopy Great Country. Furthermore, Lu Tingyu's bloodline was the Lu family's bloodline. On that day, this matter had shocked the upper echelon of the Lu family. Lu Tingyu and Lu Dong had successfully entered the flooding Lake Lu tribe. They were like carps leaping through the dragon gate, taking this crucial step. Zhao Feng witnessed this scene and thought back to when he and Zhao Shui had entered the Zhao clan together. That night, Zhao Feng entered the flooding Lake Lu family's esteemed guest residence. On top of that, Lu Yuan quickly gave Zhao Feng a small book that was filled with information. All the names on the booklet were Lu Qinxin. Zhao Feng couldn't help but admire Lu Yuan's efficiency. That's right, I forgot to remind Master Zhao that the flooding lake city lord's daughter is called Lu Qinxin. Lu Yuan said hesitantly. Oh. Zhao Feng didn't pay too much attention to it since there were too many people with the same name. More importantly, this Katomi-san is currently holding a joust for a spouse. Lu Yuan said with sweat on his face. Chapter 257. Martial Arts Competition. Zhao Feng couldn't help but shake his head speechlessly. The Canopy Great Country was extremely big and there were many people called Lu Qinxin. Coincidentally, he had met a Lu Qinxin who was having a martial arts competition. What's the city lord's daughter's age and cultivation like? Although Zhao Feng didn't think that the possibility was high, he still asked for the sake of safety. According to logic, the recipient's cultivation and age should be around the same as first elders. However, nothing was absolute. Once one reached the true spirit realm, they would have a lifespan of several hundred years. Those that were over 100 years old could look like they were in their 20s. At the same time, there were some geniuses that had reached the true spirit realm at the age of 10 or 20. As long as one reached the true spirit realm, it didn't matter if they were a few hundred years old or a few dozen years old. This meant that Zhao Feng had two requirements. First, his cultivation should not be too far off from the great elders. At the very least, it should not be too much lower than the great elders. Secondly, they couldn't be too young. In order to prevent anyone from escaping, they had to be over 20 years old. Apart from that, there were some other requirements. For example, they liked to travel. The Canopy Great Country was extremely far away from the 13 countries. If it wasn't necessary, only those that liked to travel would leave the prosperous Great Country and head towards the remote 13 countries. This city lord's daughter is extremely mysterious and likes to travel most of the time. Her cultivation should have reached the half-step true spirit realm. Her age shouldn't be too old, no more than 20. As for her appearance, some people say she's beautiful while others say she's extremely ugly. Lu Yuan said uncertainly. The flooding lake city lord is also from the Lu family. Why aren't you sure about her age and appearance? Zhao Feng was slightly curious. If it was based on the requirements, then this city lord's daughter had reached the standard. Lu Yuan bitterly smiled. Not only is the city lord's daughter mysterious, even her mother is mysterious. She only had a short relationship with the current flooding lake city lord before disappearing. However, the flooding lake city lord still loves his mother and hasn't taken a concubine. Zhao Feng frowned slightly. The daughter of the city lord who was participating in the joust for a spouse event was a bit mysterious. Her information was vague and hard to confirm. The joust for a spouse will be held in the next few days. If Grandmaster Zhao is interested, you can even participate. As long as he is not over 25 years old and can defeat Miss Lu, he can become the son-in-law of that dragon. Lu Yuan said in a probing tone. Zhao Feng shook his head violently. A martial arts competition for a spouse? He was not interested at all. However, he wanted to find some time to meet the city lord's daughter. After all, he couldn't completely rule her out. Next. Zhao Feng began to flip through the list in his hand. On the list were all girls named Lu Qinxin, ranging from teenagers to hundreds of years old. Most of these people came from the Lu family, and they all took different paths in life. Zhao Feng filtered them one by one according to the two conditions. In the end, there were only about 10 people left who met the conditions. Of these 10, 2 had reached the true spirit realm while the rest had reached the half-step true spirit realm. These 2 true spirit realm cultivators named Lu Qinxin aren't simple. One is the Qin fairy of the Qin Sword Palace and is an elder. The other is Empress Qin of the Imperials. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take in a cold breath. 1 Imperials, 3 sects, 4 families. The Qin Sword Clan was one of the 3 sects. Both the Qin Sword Palace and the Imperials were one of the 8 strongest forces in the Canopy Great Country. Furthermore, the Qin Fairy and Empress Qin both met the conditions according to their age and cultivation. Hu Zhaofeng let out a long breath and rubbed his forehead. Now, he had finally found a way to deliver the letter. Apart from the Qin Fairy and Empress Qin, it wasn't hard for him to meet the others. Zhao Feng copied the information into his mind and started to rest that night. Traveling from the 13 countries to the Canopy Great Country, Zhao Feng's cultivation hadn't increased much, but his foundation was extremely stable. The last few heavens of the Ascended Realm were extremely difficult, and every time one took a step forward, one would have to pay a huge price. Back at the Alliance Banquet, if it wasn't for the shedding spiritual pill, it would have taken Zhao Feng at least 2 to 3 years to reach the 7th sky. After resolving the ghost curse, Zhao Feng's cultivation had dropped to the 6th sky, but he didn't regret it. And now, Zhao Feng had arrived at the sacred cultivation ground of the great country. The heaven-earth yuan qi here was thick and resources were plentiful. He cultivated for a night. The second day, Zhao Feng first went to greet Uncle Lu and company. Uncle Lu was preparing to leave and his face was flushed red with joy. After all, a genius had finally appeared in his branch family. Lu Tingyu still hadn't forgotten about the little thieving cat and continued to play with it. This old man will be leaving soon. I hope Master Zhao can take care of Ting and Dong. Before Uncle Lu left, he handed Zhao Feng a faint silver bag. This is. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised and touched it with his hand. He found that it was a spiritual pet bag that was worth at least 100,000 low-grade primal crystal stones. Just a small token of my appreciation. Uncle Lu said with a smile. Although 100,000 primal crystal stones was a large number, it wasn't much for a family. Uncle Lu had calculated that Zhao Feng needed a spiritual pet bag right now. After all, it wasn't convenient to carry the azure sharp swallow around. Thank you, Uncle Lu. Zhao Feng took the spiritual pet bag. At the current stage, he indeed couldn't afford a spiritual pet bag. Seeing Zhao Feng accept the spiritual pet bag, Uncle Lu left happily. Beast tamers were very popular in the great country and all the forces wanted to be on good terms with them. If Zhao Feng stayed in the flooding lake city, he would be treated as an important guest by the Lu family and he would be able to take care of Lu Tingyu and Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng understood Uncle Lu's intentions and started to study the spiritual pet bag. The spiritual pet bag was a special spatial bag that was used to store spiritual pets and mounts. It was made using a very profound array. The difference between it and the interspatial bracelet was that the spiritual pet bag could store living things for a long time and it could flow with the yuan qi of the outside world. However, the disadvantage was also obvious. Because the spiritual pet bag was too big, it wasn't stable and could only be used for around 10 years. Zhao Feng's interspatial bracelet was only 1 square meter in size, but it was very stable and wouldn't change for hundreds or even thousands of years. As for why the little thieving cat could live in the interspatial bracelet for a long time and enter it as it pleased, even Zhao Feng couldn't explain it. With the spiritual pet bag, Zhao Feng waved his hand and put the azure sharp swallow in. The little thieving cat also dragged its family into the spiritual pet bag. Apart from some primal crystal stones and various gems, the little thieving cat was also holding a wine flask that was even bigger than itself. This wine flask came from the forbidden ground of 100 graves and could automatically brew wine. Zhao Feng didn't usually drink, so he closed one eye and let the little thieving cat drink it all. Meow meow. The little thieving cat rubbed against Zhao Feng's face and then happily and excitedly moved into the spiritual pet bag. The spiritual pet bag had a radius of several dozen yards. The azure sharp swallow and the little thieving cat got along well, especially the azure sharp swallow, which seemed to fear the little thieving cat for some reason. After the arrangements were made, Zhao Feng walked out of the Lu family's residence alone. He had the Flooding Lu token and was unobstructed within the territory of the Flooding Lake Lu family. As an important guest of the Flooding Lake Lu family, Zhao Feng's actions had attracted the attention of the Lu family. They had sent people to lead the way and there were guards protecting him in secret. All sorts of treatment and care were given to him. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. If he didn't have to send a letter and stayed in the Flooding Lake City for a while, it wouldn't be bad. Master Zhao, are you going to participate in the martial arts competition? The person leading the way was Lu Yuan and he teased. Lu Yuan knew Zhao Feng's intentions the best. The young miss who was participating in the martial arts competition was called Lu Qinxin and she was mysterious. There was no way Zhao Feng wouldn't pay attention to her. I'm just going to watch. Zhao Feng was speechless. Lu Yuan smiled and didn't say anything as he led the way. Half the time it took to make tea later. In front of the city lord's palace was a scarlet gold array that was around 100 yards wide. There was an ocean of people near the stage and the sound of cheering could be heard. The martial arts competition lasts a total of 7 days and this is the last day. There's not a single man in the entire Flooding Lake City that's Miss Lu's match. That Miss Lu is indeed extraordinary. Almost no one has been able to last more than 3 rounds against her. The city lord's palace was in discussion. At this moment in time, on the martial arts stage, the mysterious daughter of the city lord stood alone. She wore a snow-white veil and her figure was like a goddess. Just her figure alone gave people endless fantasies. However, she wore a veil that only revealed a pair of clear eyes. Her hair was like a willow leaf that floated in the wind. Even in the sea of people, she still gave off a sense of peace and tranquility. Although her appearance couldn't be seen, the aura of the daughter of the city lord made people's hearts beat faster. In terms of aura, there weren't many women that Zhao Feng knew that could be compared to her. He instinctively used his god's spiritual eye to look at the face of the daughter of the city lord. Although he didn't use the power of his left eye, his gaze still had a piercing power. But what shocked Zhao Feng was that the veil on the face of the city lord's daughter contained a mysterious power that made it impossible for him to see anything. Furthermore, Lu Qinxin seemed to sense it and her eyes turned. Even though Zhao Feng's reaction was fast and he moved his gaze away, the city lord's daughter's gaze still locked onto him for an instant. After all, Zhao Feng's azure hair in one eye was very eye-catching. Because Lu Yuan led the way, Zhao Feng went straight to the spectating area of the city lord's palace. At the center of the spectating area sat the Flooding Lake City Lord. He was around 30 to 40 years old and looked very scholarly. Greetings, Uncle Lu. Lu Yuan was, after all, the adopted son of the head of the Lu family and went up to greet him while also introducing Zhao Feng. The Flooding Lake City Lord faintly nodded his head and inspected Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng instantly felt a pressure as heavy as Mount Tai. A casual glance from the Flooding Lake City Lord almost made all of his true force and blood instantly collapse. This Flooding Lake City Lord's cultivation is at least at the true mystic rank or even higher. It's certain that no one in the 13 clans is his match. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and calmly greeted the City Lord. The Flooding Lake City Lord's face was full of praise. As the saying goes, heroes come from the youth. Such a young beast tamer is indeed rare. Zhao Feng could only reply humbly. He was certain that the Flooding Lake City Lord could see that his mental energy source was higher than others and even his bloodline power could be exposed. Hee, you must be here to participate in my daughter's matchmaking, right? The Flooding Lake City Lord said with a smile. Zhao Feng instantly jumped up and almost stumbled. Chapter 258. I believe you're also here to participate in my daughter's betrothal contest. The Flooding Lake City Lord smiled brightly, causing Zhao Feng's heart to skip a beat. What he was afraid of had come. Right now, the Flooding Lake City Lord believed that Zhao Feng was here to participate in the contest. If Zhao Feng said no, it would be the same as disrespecting the Flooding Lake City Lord. In the Flooding Lake Lu family, the Flooding Lake City Lord was definitely one of the top figures and his prestige was even higher than the head of the Lu family. The previous Flooding Lake City Lords had always been led by someone from the Lu family who could control the situation. Only then could they stabilize the situation around the Flooding Lake. After all, the Lu family wasn't the only powerful force in the Flooding Lake region. There were two other forces that were only slightly weaker than the Lu family. Hee, Uncle Lu's eyes are truly sharp. This brother Zhao is indeed a bit interested. Lu Yuan signaled to Zhao Feng. In this kind of situation, no one dared to disrespect the Flooding Lake City Lord. Doing so would be equivalent to offending the entire Flooding Lake Lu family. Zhao Feng cursed in his heart and felt as if he had been plotted against. However, at this moment, he could only faintly nod his head. I'm a bit interested, but more than that, I want to see the City Lord's daughter. As for the betrothal contest, this junior doesn't dare to hope for it. He didn't say too much. On one hand, he gave the Flooding Lake City Lord face. Moreover, he left himself some leeway and a way out of the situation with the last sentence. Little brat, I feel like old friends with you. This is the last day of the contest, so you must go up later. The Flooding Lake City Lord smiled and nodded his head. Hearing this, Zhao Feng almost fainted. Why did this Flooding Lake City Lord not let go of him? Lu Yuan laughed in his heart and brought Zhao Feng to the spectator stand. On the spectator stand, Zhao Feng felt depressed and his expression was slightly unnatural. On the other side, a playful smile appeared on the lips of the Flooding Lake City Lord as he chuckled inwardly, becoming a beast tamer at such a young age, possessing a powerful source of mental energy, and the aura of an ancient bloodline on him, which is even stronger than the bloodline of my Lu clan. How can I let such a genius go? So, from the moment he saw Zhao Feng, the Flooding Lake City Lord sensed his great talent. The Flooding Lake City Lord's cultivation was unfathomable and he had a powerful bloodline. This was why he could see through Zhao Feng's talent and bloodline. This also proved that Zhao Feng's previous intuition was correct. In Canopy Great Country, almost every big family had a bloodline inheritance. In order to maintain the continuation of their bloodline, these great races would usually choose people with the same bloodline as them to marry, or even marry intimately. Those who possessed a bloodline inheritance were equivalent to nobles, and were superior to ordinary people in terms of bloodline. As for the nobles, they naturally had to marry the nobles. Zhao Feng had a bloodline inheritance, so his mental energy source was superior to others. At such a young age, he was a popular beast tamer, so he naturally caught the eye of the Flooding Lake City Lord. The pitiful Zhao Feng sat in the spectator stands, extremely depressed. With his intelligence, he only needed to think a little to understand the reason. The Flooding Lake City Lord won't force me to marry his daughter, right? Zhao Feng was in a dilemma. But thinking about it, why not beat him at his own game? Anyways, his goal was to test the City Lord's daughter's strength. With Zhao Feng's current strength at the sixth sky of the Ascended Realm, he most likely wouldn't be her match, and if he lost, he wouldn't be able to get married. Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng's heart felt good. Right at this moment, a tall and sturdy man ascended the stage. He had a head of red hair and a few red lines could be seen on his arms. It's Zhong Tiankue from the Zhong family. Lu Yuan's expression changed slightly as he stared at the scarlet-haired bulky male. Zhao Feng's left eye stared at Zhong Tiankui's arms. The red tattoos weren't tattoos, but they came from his bloodline power. Zhong Tiankui. One of the top 10 geniuses of the flooding lake city, and he comes from the Zhong family, one of the 3 major forces. This Zhong family member has come to participate in the Lu family's marriage-finding competition. The crowd discussed. This was the 7th day of the competition, and although there weren't many people going up, they were all of high quality and each of them was stronger than the other. At this moment, Zhong Tiankui was undoubtedly a strong character. Qi of half-step true spirit, 60% converted, bloodline inheritance. Zhao Feng couldn't estimate this person's strength, but he was sure that even if he didn't hold back, his chances of winning against this person were slim. Zhong Tiankui stood proudly on the stage and his scarlet hair blew in the wind like flames. At the same time, the red tattoos on his arms lit up out of nowhere and flickered with traces of fiery light. Zhong Tiankui's aura burst forth like a mini volcano. The scorching heat caused the spectators below the stage to become restless and their mouths to go dry. Sorry. Zhong Tiankui's body glowed red and his aura of fire rose as he charged towards Lu Qinxin, who was wearing a snow-white dress. Lu Qinxin's beautiful eyes were as calm as before. She didn't back down and a jade comb appeared in her hand. Jade comb. Zhao Feng's heart jumped as he remembered the half a jade comb that First Elder had given him. The jade comb in front of him gave off a unique aura and it gave off a layer of green light. Sharp green scars appeared in the air and each one was 10 yards long. Some were straight, some were curved, and some were even circular. Each blue shuttle mark contained a powerful force that could disdain the 7th heaven, and was enough to instantly shatter an ordinary city wall. Each one's power is comparable to Tsang Yue's seed of sword intent attack and there's several of them at once. Zhao Feng's heart jumped. Lu Qinxin's strength was stronger than he had imagined. No wonder she dared to participate in this competition. In this era, especially in the flooding lake generation, it would be hard to find a genius that was comparable to her. However, Zhong Tiankui's strength wasn't to be underestimated. His aura of fire was like a ring of fire that charged out in a radius of 20 yards and blocked Lu Qinxin's attack. In this short amount of time, Lu Qinxin had the initiative and Zhong Tiankui didn't back down. This is the clash of the top geniuses of the Canopy Great Country. Zhao Feng's heart trembled. Putting aside Lu Qinxin, just Zhong Tiankui alone could sweep all the geniuses of the Alliance banquet. But thinking about it, the development of cultivation in the flooding lake region far surpassed the 13 countries. With the flooding lake Lu family's strength, they could suppress the 13 clans. Furthermore, there were the other 2 forces and other families. After exchanging tens of blows, Lu Qinxin's veil lightly fluttered as she waved the jade comb in her hand. In an instant, an even longer green shuttle mark traversed the void. The edge of the shuttle mark was even suffused with a layer of mysterious silver light. With a boom, Zhong Tiankui was sent flying by an unstoppable force and a deep gash was left on his shoulder. What kind of power is that? It can easily cut through my fire dragon protection. Zhong Tiankui climbed up from the ground and his face was pale white with shock. In the flooding lake city, he was one of the top 10 experts of the younger generation and yet he couldn't beat the daughter of the city lord. Ever since. This daughter of the city lord was extremely mysterious and rarely showed herself. Almost no one knew how strong she was. It wasn't until recently when the city lord arranged for his daughter's marriage that this genius was revealed to the world. After Zhong Tiankui's defeat, the crowd became silent once more. Many of the youths below the stage had red faces and couldn't raise their heads. As an important city, the flooding lake city had always been filled with geniuses and experts. But now, a man of the younger generation was being stepped on by a woman. Brother Lu, you're the adopted son of the family and you're not related by blood to the daughter of the city lord. Why didn't you challenge her? Zhao Feng looked curiously at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. Zhong Tiankue is ranked in the top 3 of the top 10 in the flooding lake city and I'm slightly weaker than him. I lost to Qinxin a few days ago. Zhao Feng came to a realization. After all, Lu Yuan was the adopted son of the family. If he could marry the daughter of the city lord, it would be the best way to enter the core of the Lu family. However, this daughter of the city lord's strength was too terrifying. No one in the younger generation of the flooding lake city was able to block her. Of course, Zhao Feng had to admit that he couldn't catch up to her. Even Zhong Tiankue, who had a bloodline inheritance, wasn't her match, let alone him who was only at the 6th sky. For the next half a day, there would occasionally be a few youths who came to challenge her, but they were all defeated in 1 or 2 moves. Looking at these defeated youths, Zhao Feng broke out in cold sweat. What was worse was that the city lord would occasionally glance at him with a smile that wasn't a smile. The sun was about to set and the date of the marriage finding was about to come. It's over, hurry up and end it. Zhao Feng felt that each day felt like a year. From the current situation, even if he stepped onto the stage, he wouldn't have any chance of winning. The last stage. The area around the stage was abnormally silent. The daughter of the city lord, Lu Qinxin, stood in a corner of the stage. Her eyebrows were like a painting and her eyes were calm and unfazed. She didn't seem to have much hope for the marriage finding and her attitude was good. The flooding lake city lord sighed. Suddenly, his gaze turned and landed on the azure-haired youth on the spectating stand. Kid, you and I hit it off the moment we met. Don't disappoint me. A playful smile appeared on the flooding lake city lord's face. Zhao Feng cursed in his heart. Who's hitting it off the moment we met? However, under everyone's gazes, he couldn't go against the flooding lake city lord's will. Oh well, it's impossible for me to beat this girl anyways. I'll just use this chance to test her. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he noticed the jade comb in Lu Qinxin's hand. Apart from being younger than he had imagined, this girl's cultivation, strength, and unique characteristics all fit the criteria. Especially that jade comb, it was similar to the one that Zhao Feng had. Even if this Lu Qinxin wasn't the person he was looking for, there should be some clues. Brother Zhao, work hard and marry the daughter of the city lord. This is a blessing that countless people would be envious of. Lu Yuan joked with a smile. Zhao Feng couldn't stop halfway, so he jumped onto the stage. Lu Qinxin's eyes landed on Zhao Feng with interest. At the same time, a loud voice came from below, "This is a young beast tamer from afar, Zhao Feng. Master Zhao wants to see the face of the daughter of the city lord, so he's here to participate in the marriage finding." Hearing this, the crowd went into an uproar. Such a young beast tamer. He's participating in the marriage finding just to see the face of a beauty. The people below the stage discussed animatedly, causing a commotion. Zhao Feng almost spat out blood. His polite words had been made public. At this moment, even Lu Qinxin was looking at him weirdly. Chapter 259. As the crowd cheered, Zhao Feng felt speechless. He was invincible in the younger generation of the 13 countries. Was he going to lose to a girl today? He took in a light breath and calmed himself down. Since things had reached this point, he had no way out, so he might as well beat her at her own game. Firstly, the flooding lake city lord's authority couldn't be disobeyed. Secondly, he wanted to find out more about the daughter of the city lord. Lu Qinxin, who was wearing a snow-white veil, said with interest, "Qinxin feels honored that beast tamer Zhao has come from afar. As long as you defeat Qinxin, not to mention seeing my face, Qinxin is willing to give herself to you." Lu Qinxin's words contained a hint of playfulness which caused the crowd to laugh. No one believed that a youth at the 6th sky could defeat Lu Qinxin. Amongst the challengers, Zhao Feng's cultivation could be said to be the weakest. After seeing Lu Qinxin's battle, even Zhao Feng had to admit that there was a huge gap between him and Lu Qinxin. If it was a life-and-death battle, Zhao Feng was confident that he could escape unscathed and even use the environment to counterattack. However, this was a duel for a spouse, a fair and square battle. Qin Xin, this beast tamer Zhao is an esteemed guest of the Lu family. His age and cultivation are both lower than yours. Can you suppress your cultivation a little? The Flooding Lake City Lord suddenly said. As he said this, the crowd went into an uproar again. Just what kind of background did this young beast tamer have to make the Flooding Lake City Lord look at him differently? This. I'll do as father wishes. Qin Xin will suppress her cultivation to the seventh sky. Lu Qinxin's eyebrows furrowed and her eyes glanced at Zhao Feng before regaining her calm. It was obvious that she didn't see Zhao Feng as a true opponent. In terms of strength, Zhao Feng was much weaker than all the opponents he had faced before. The crowd discussed amongst themselves. Although there were some disagreements, since the Flooding Lake City Lord and Lady Lu had reached an agreement, no one objected. Plus, to the crowd, even if Lu Qinxin suppressed her cultivation to the seventh sky, she would still be able to defeat Zhao Feng. Hearing this, Zhao Feng almost cursed out loud. Why was the Flooding Lake City Lord trying to make life difficult for him? If Lu Qinxin suppressed her cultivation to the seventh sky, then Zhao Feng's chances of winning would be around 50%. If Zhao Feng held back during the battle, he wouldn't be able to escape the Flooding Lake City Lord's eyes. Qinshin-san, there's no need to be so polite. I'm more willing to see you use your full strength. At that time, even if you lose, you won't have any complaints. Zhao Feng hurriedly refused. Lu Qinxin smiled as her evaluation of Zhao Feng increased. If it was any other young prodigy, they would probably want her to suppress her cultivation. That way, they would be able to marry the beauty and become the son-in-law of the Flooding Lake City Lord. Begin. A bright voice came from below the stage. The host was at the True Spirit Realm. As soon as he said this, Zhao Feng patted the small silver bag on his waist and summoned the Azure Sharp Swallow. The Azure Sharp Swallow screeched and turned into a streak of azure light that was hard to see with the naked eye as it shot towards Lu Qinxin. In terms of speed, the Azure Sharp Swallow was the best in the seventh sky, and under Zhao Feng's control, its trajectory was unpredictable. Zhao Feng quickly retreated and maintained his distance from Lu Qinxin. At this moment, he needed to use the methods of a beast tamer to prevent his identity from being exposed. Lu Qinxin lightly exclaimed and waved her hand. Several azure lights flashed in the air and chased after the Azure Sharp Swallow. Zhao Feng's expression changed. Lu Qinxin's attack could still change its trajectory after piercing through the air. This had already exceeded the seventh sky, and normally only those at the True Spirit Realm could do this. Even though Lu Qinxin had suppressed her cultivation to the seventh sky, her techniques were still there. It was just that the power was halved. Boom! The Azure Sharp Swallow waved its claws and flapped its wings, successfully blocking one or two of Lu Qinxin's attacks. After a slight pause, it turned into an arc and swept towards Lu Qinxin's back. In midair, the Azure Sharp Swallow was extremely agile and seemed to have the intelligence of a human as it fought with Lu Qinxin. Even though Lu Qinxin had suppressed her cultivation, her attacks were still able to deal a fatal blow to the Azure Sharp Swallow. However, with Zhao Feng as its master, the Azure Sharp Swallow's speed, agility and attacks were pushed to the limit. Every time there was danger, it would fly into the air. After exchanging blows for a while, the spectators couldn't help but look at this young beast tamer in a new light. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's expression was solemn. Up until now, Lu Qinxin's actions had been very casual and she hadn't used her true strength even though she was at the seventh sky. She hasn't used the jade comb in her hand. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed and a dark azure bow appeared in his hand. It gave off a faint red glow and in the middle of it was an ice lotus symbol. 3 arrows appeared on the Luoho bow. Bow. The spectators faintly smiled and weren't surprised. In Canopy Great Country, there were many types of weapons and beast tamers often used bows and arrows. Bows and arrows were also very suitable for beast tamers. This was because spiritual pets could act as meat shields and long-range weapons. It was the best combination. Bang so, the Luoho arrow pierced through the air and with a crackle of lightning, it broke through the sound barrier and drew a cold blue stream of air that shot towards Lu Qinshin's weak point. Only when Zhao Feng used the Luoho Bao did Lu Qinshin stop looking down on him. Zhao Feng's Luoho Bao contained a lightning inheritance intent and its speed was extremely fast. When it clashed with Lu Qinshin, it would release a cold stream of air that affected her speed. Although the Luoho arrow couldn't injure Lu Qinshin at all, it could disrupt her and it worked perfectly with the Azure Sharp Swallow. In a short amount of time, Zhao Feng was able to fight evenly with Lu Qinshin. As long as Lu Qinshin showed the slightest opening, the Luoho Bao would attack and the Azure Sharp Swallow would attack even more fiercely. This Lu Qinshin isn't simple. Apart from not using my bloodline power, I've used all my strength but I can't do anything to her. Zhao Feng felt wary. Shua, the jade comb in Lu Qinshin's hand appeared once again and streaks of green light shot out. On one hand, she blocked the Azure Sharp Swallow and Luoho Bao, and on the other hand, she tried to force Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's figure flickered, becoming a blur of lightning that flickered between real and fake. Even when he was moving, Zhao Feng could still quickly use the Luoho Bao and control the Azure Sharp Swallow to attack, doing three things at once. Not only that, Zhao Feng's attacks became even fiercer. The Luoho Bao and the Azure Sharp Swallow worked together perfectly on the ground and in the air. Lu Qinshin's cultivation was suppressed to the seventh sky and she finally felt troubled. If I hadn't held back from the start and attacked the beast tamer directly, I would have been able to end the battle quickly. Lu Qinshin sighed and knew that she had underestimated her opponent. Although this beast tamer's cultivation was only at the sixth sky, his true battle power was enough to fight against those at the half-step true spirit realm. The spectators below sighed. If this continued, Zhao Feng would be the person with the highest chance of winning the marriage-finding competition. The Flooding Lake City Lord sat on the spectator stand with a smile on his face. This brat has such godly archery skills. If Qinshin's cultivation was suppressed to the seventh sky, her chances of winning would be hard to predict. No matter what was said, the Flooding Lake City Lord finally saw a sliver of hope. Zhao Feng's performance had exceeded his expectations. Beast taming skills, archery skills, usage of lightning, all of them had reached a shocking level. Amongst those of the same age, Zhao Feng's talent and strength were unparalleled in the Flooding Lake area. However, Qinshin probably won't give up so easily. The Flooding Lake City Lord's expression was calm. Right at this moment, Lu Qinshin waved the jade comb in her hand and the edge of the green shuttle mark glowed with a mysterious silver light. Lu Qinshin's hair flowed down like a waterfall as her veil fluttered. Her eyes flickered with a silver luster. The luster was like the boundless starry sky, empty and cold. Bloodline power. Zhao Feng's heart shook. Under the mysterious power, the jade comb's attack seemed to come from the ancient sky and contained an unparalleled and ancient aura. Bloodline power, and an ancient bloodline inheritance. The bloodline power in Zhao Feng's body became restless. When a layer of faint azure blood flowed on the surface of his body. A glass-like green tattoo appeared on Zhao Feng's body. It was like a totem from the ancient era, ancient and noble, but it also seemed slightly wicked. Bang so, the Luoho arrow also brought along a faint azure blood figure, increasing its power and speed. Boom! The two bloodline powers clashed on the stage, causing ripples to appear on the surrounding barriers. The spectators below the stage paled in shock. His bloodline inheritance is even purer than Qinshin's. The Flooding Lake City Lord was overjoyed. Lu Qinshin felt the bloodline power in her body tremble slightly. This was something that had never happened since her bloodline power had awakened. Even though her bloodline power had developed more than Zhao Feng's, she didn't gain any advantage. The battle had reached its peak. Zhao Feng's bow and arrow, along with the azure sharp swallow, was still able to bite Lu Qinxin. Lu Qinxin was at the seventh sky and her strength had reached its peak. There was even a faint blue layer of frost on her snow-white clothes. Of course, if the battle continued, Zhao Feng would still lose. This was because Lu Qinxin was at the seventh sky and her true force reserve and recovery speed surpassed Zhao Feng. If I don't fight with my life on the line, my chances of winning will be lower. Zhao Feng was very satisfied with this result and quickly used his true force. As long as his true force was used up, he would lose. At that time, it would be an honorable defeat. Meow meow. The little thieving cat suddenly appeared from the spiritual pet bag and gave a drunken burp while hugging a wine flask that was even bigger than itself. The spectators below the stage were stunned. Does he have a second strong spiritual pet? Lu Qinxin's expression changed slightly. Meow meow. The little thieving cat put away the wine flask and walked drunkenly around the stage. What does this little fellow want to do? Zhao Feng's heart jumped. The little thieving cat reeked of alcohol and its eyes were blurry as it walked drunkenly around the stage, as if it didn't know what was going on. When it clashed with Lu Qinxin, the backlash from their clash was enough to rip apart normal 6th or 7th skies. Drunkenly steps. Only the flooding Lake City Lord's eyes flashed with a weird light. The little thieving cat's footsteps seemed to be messy, but they seemed to have some sort of natural ability that allowed it to dodge the shockwaves. Chapter 260. The battle between Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin shook the soul and caused the arrays around the stage to ripple. In this situation, if a normal expert at 6th or 7th sky were to interfere, they would most likely die. However, at this moment, a little gray cat the size of a palm didn't seem to feel anything as it drunkenly entered the battlefield, staggering with each step. Some of the girls below the stage screamed in fear. The little thieving cat seemed to be walking on a tightrope. If it wasn't careful, it would be smashed to pieces. Traces of electric currents and wavy blades exploded and tumbled on the martial stage. Almost at every moment, there was a rumbling sound. Gulu. The little thieving cat's eyes were blurry and it rolled on the ground just in time for a green blade of air to pass by its head. Immediately after, it rolled sideways, as if drunk as mud. It rolled on the ground, avoiding a sweep of electricity. It wasn't just the people watching this scene. Even Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin who were fighting broke out in cold sweat for the little thieving cat. Don't do anything rash. Zhao Feng roared. The little thieving cat had a mysterious connection with him, but at this moment, it was too drunk and its consciousness was in a blurry state, so it didn't hear his words. It really was drunk. Zhao Feng's face twitched. Looking closely, the little thieving cat's current state was extremely strange. Not only was it drunk, it was also in a mysterious state. The drunkenness of the little thieving cat had merged into its bones. Its body's senses created a superhuman instinct that allowed it to dodge or block, resolving the danger around it. Thus, a scene that caused everyone to be astounded appeared on the arena. Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin fought fiercely. A little drunk cat was between the two, walking drunkenly and letting out drunken burps. Lu Qinxin felt that something was wrong and was slightly wary at first. But she found that the little thieving cat's consciousness was in a blurry state, as if it was drunk and didn't have any instincts to attack. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had a hint of worry on his face, which meant that even he, the owner, couldn't control the situation. Time slowly passed. The two of them had gotten used to the little thieving cat's existence and were attacking each other, not paying much attention to it. Furthermore, the little thieving cat was too small, only the size of a palm. It was easy to overlook. However, many people were paying attention to the little thieving cat, especially the females. What a cute kitten. This kitten is amazing. The eyes of these young girls were filled with stars as their attention was completely attracted by the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat seemed to be drunk and clumsy, but it was actually extremely agile. Up until now, it hadn't suffered any real damage. Perhaps it didn't even realize that it had unknowingly gained a group of fans. The Flooding Lake City Lord stared at the little thieving cat for a while with furrowed eyebrows. The Flooding Lake City Lord could see Zhao Feng's bloodline talent but not the little thieving cat. Could it be a heavenly variant? He was clearly a newborn, yet he was able to comprehend the profound meaning of the drunken steps. An alcoholic kitten. Hee. The Flooding Lake City Lord became even more interested. The little thieving cat's performance made the Flooding Lake City Lord look at Zhao Feng even more highly. After all, no matter how strong the little thieving cat was, it was still Zhao Feng's spiritual pet. Soon. An hour passed and the true force within Zhao Feng's body was rapidly being used up. In reality, he didn't try to conserve his true force in the fight and just fought with all his might. On the other hand, Lu Qinxin was calm. After all, she was at the half-step true spirit realm and could last another half a day without a problem. And, if this continues, I'll be able to lose fair and square. Zhao Feng calculated in his heart. He didn't want to win this battle and didn't have much of a chance. At this moment, Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he stared at Lu Qinxin's white veil. This girl is extremely mysterious and likes to travel. She has a comb similar to First Elder's. I'm not even sure of her age. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. Was this Lu Qinxin the same person as the one he was looking for? Were they related? It'd be great if I could see her appearance clearly. Zhao Feng couldn't help but think, but he knew it wasn't possible. The current situation was extremely disadvantageous for Zhao Feng. If the battle dragged on, his true force would start to weaken. On the other hand, Lu Qinxin was becoming more and more courageous. Zhao Feng was at a disadvantage. Under normal situations, if Lu Qinxin suppressed her cultivation to the seventh sky and Zhao Feng attacked fiercely in the first hour, he would have a chance of winning. However, he had purposely used up his true force and didn't have any hopes of winning. Scanning the battlefield, Zhao Feng suddenly found the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat was still walking drunkenly. Its pair of black gemstone eyes glanced at him with a hint of smugness. Good chance. The little thieving cat's more or less awake now. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. If the little thieving cat was awake, Zhao Feng could give it simple instructions through their connection. Meow meow. The little thieving cat understood Zhao Feng's intentions and its drunken steps suddenly turned and approached Lu Qinxin. Lu Qinxin was currently suppressing Zhao Feng and had long since gotten used to the little thieving cat's existence. When the little thieving cat was 5 or 6 yards away from her, Lu Qinxin suddenly became wary. At this moment, the little thieving cat's drunkenness had dissipated and it charged towards her. Shwa! Suddenly, the little thieving cat's body flashed and disappeared from everyone's sight. The crowd instantly went into an uproar, mostly from the screams of the girls. Bang! So, Zhao Feng's lips curled into a faint smile as he circulated his bloodline power and the Luoho Bao was fully activated. At the same time, the azure sharp swallow in midair counterattacked even more fiercely. Stealth. Lu Qinxin's eyes were as clear as autumn water. While she was dealing with Zhao Feng's attacks, she spread her spiritual sense and scanned everything within 10 yards. Although she was only at the half-step true spirit realm, her spiritual sense wasn't any weaker than normal true human rank cultivators and could instantly break through stealth and illusions. However, the next instant, Lu Qinxin revealed a look of panic. Her spiritual sense didn't find any traces of the little thieving cat. Meow meow. A sound sounded in her ears. Lu Qinxin felt a palm-sized gray cat appear on her shoulder. What? Lu Qinxin wasn't the only one. The expressions of the Flooding Lake City Lord and some experts at the True Spirit Realm changed. At this moment, Lu Qinxin was dazed. The little thieving cat bared its teeth at her and then, as if it was playing a prank, lifted her white veil. Shwa! When the veil fell, an ethereal beauty was revealed. Her eyebrows were like a poem, her eyes were like autumn water, her nose, lips and teeth were like a natural lotus. She was so beautiful that it took one's breath away. She was like a goddess from a painting. At this moment, the noisy crowd suddenly fell into a dead silence. Countless spectators were dumbstruck. Their gazes were dull as they fell into unprecedented amazement. This kind of soul-shaking beauty made Zhao Feng slightly dazed, and then he was slightly disappointed. The Lu Qinxin in front of him was much younger than he had imagined. She didn't even look much older than Zhao Yufei. At this moment, the girl's face was filled with shock and then anger as her face went red. Her expressions and actions showed that she wasn't very old. For some reason, Zhao Feng felt anger and hatred from Lu Qinxin and her gaze towards him was extremely complicated. Meow meow. The little thieving cat immediately realized that something was wrong and disappeared from Lu Qinxin's body. In the next instant, the aura of the half-step true spirit realm was released from Lu Qinxin's body and her hair blew in the wind. Zhao Feng couldn't breathe. At this moment, his true force had been used up and if Lu Qinxin attacked, he wouldn't be able to escape unscathed. Lu Qinxin's emotions were slightly unstable and complex. You took off my veil. Ah! Zhao Feng was dazed. Luckily, Lu Qinxin managed to calm herself down and stop herself from going berserk. Meow meow. The little thieving cat returned to Zhao Feng's shoulder and was slightly puzzled. It then flipped a bronze coin in the air with its two paws. Ding! The old bronze coin landed in front of the little thieving cat's paws. The cat revealed a bad expression and quickly hid back into the spiritual pet bag. Only Zhao Feng was left facing the angry Lu Qinxin. This little thieving cat. Zhao Feng couldn't help but grit his teeth. As long as something went wrong, the little thieving cat would immediately run away. At this moment, Lu Qinxin's expression was obviously unfriendly. To be able to see Lady Lu's face, this trip was worth it and I have no regrets. However, this one is ashamed that I'm useless and can't match Lady Lu's martial prowess. Zhao Feng immediately cupped his fists and admitted defeat. It wasn't hard for everyone to see that Zhao Feng wasn't Lu Qinxin's match. Zhao Feng had lasted until now before losing and he had even taken off the veil of the daughter of the city lord. Although he had lost, it was an honorable defeat. This one will be leaving now. Zhao Feng smiled awkwardly and with a hum of lightning, he turned into a faint figure and flew away from the stage. The spectators smiled and gave friendly gazes to Zhao Feng, but they didn't stop him. Father. Lu Qinxin was slightly angry and embarrassed as she looked towards the Flooding Lake City Lord. Someone, stop him. The Flooding Lake City Lord exclaimed and the sky seemed to shake once or twice. His voice was like thunder. Zhao Feng, who was running away, stopped and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. A powerful true spirit realm aura pressed down on his body and almost froze his blood and true force. Shwa! Shwa! Two experts at the true spirit realm flew out from the spectating stands and restrained Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was relatively calm and knew that resisting was useless, so he immediately yelled, "This one is no match for Lady Lu and has lost the betrothal contest. Why is the city lord doing this?" The two experts at the true spirit realm brought Zhao Feng in front of the Flooding Lake City Lord. He, son-in-law, don't panic. Since you've taken off Qinxin's veil, you're fated to be my son-in-law. The Flooding Lake City Lord smiled and waved his hand, telling the two true human rank experts to let go of Zhao Feng. Son-in-law. Zhao Feng was completely dazed. What was going on? At this moment, Lu Qinxin had put on her veil and appeared in front of the Flooding Lake City Lord in a flash. Her eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger as she stared at Zhao Feng. "Please teach me, city lord." Zhao Feng took a deep breath. Ever since they met, the Flooding Lake City Lord had been scheming against him. He first forced him to attend the wedding, then told Lu Qinxin to suppress her cultivation and now gave him the title of future son-in-law. Qinxin's master left a will before she died. The first man to take off her veil would be her future son of heaven. The Flooding Lake City Lord was overjoyed. Ever since he first saw Zhao Feng, he had his eyes on him and the latter's performance had surprised him time and time again. And now, Zhao Feng was the one to take off Lu Qinxin's veil. It was fated. "That's not right, the one who took off her veil wasn't me, it was that cat." Zhao Feng angrily retorted. Chapter 261. The person who took off her veil wasn't me, it was that cat. Zhao Feng couldn't help but cry out. The person who took off the veil wasn't him, so how could he be blamed? At the critical moment, he wanted to pull the little thieving cat down with him, but the little fellow had already hidden into the spiritual pet bag and was sleeping. Don't try to deny it. That thieving cat is your spiritual pet and its actions are also under your orders. As a beast tamer, spiritual beasts are your weapons. A smile of success appeared on the Flooding Lake City Lord's face. The people nearby all congratulated the Flooding Lake City Lord. Congratulations to the City Lord for getting such a good son-in-law. Hee. We're going to attend the City Lord's wedding. Many of these people were at the true spirit realm and were extremely respectful towards the Flooding Lake City Lord. Their words were filled with flattery. Zhao Feng finally understood that the Flooding Lake City Lord was able to cover the sky with one hand. Everyone agreed with the Flooding Lake City Lord's words without any objections. Right now, even if he had 100 mouths to cry out, it would be useless. Zhao Feng's thoughts spun and he soon thought of a plan. Now that things have come to this, it's impossible for me to reject this marriage. I can only continue to beat him at his own game and gain the trust of the Flooding Lake City Lord before I have a chance to escape. Zhao Feng knew that going against the Flooding Lake City Lord was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Since going against the Flooding Lake City Lord didn't work, then he would go with the flow. Zhao Feng soon acted as if he could only accept reality helplessly. Good brat. My daughter's looks and temperament are both hard to find. She even gave way to you in the martial arts competition. Which part of her isn't good enough for you? The Flooding Lake City Lord's expression was slightly grim as an overbearing aura of the true spirit realm spread through the air. Even those at the true spirit realm nearby felt pressured. Zhao Feng smiled bitterly and said, "This junior only wishes to see the City Lord's daughter's beauty, so this trip will not be in vain. As for marrying Miss Qinxin, this junior thinks that I am not worthy of her, so I don't dare to have such a delusion." Hearing this, the Flooding Lake City Lord's expression warmed up and he smiled, "You don't need to belittle yourself. The person this City Lord has chosen will never be wrong." The people around him laughed it off. In everyone's eyes, the fact that Zhao Feng could become the Flooding Lake City Lord's son-in-law meant that he was climbing up the social ladder. At this moment, Zhao Feng felt the jealous, envious, and unwilling gazes of the numerous young geniuses below the stage. Lu Qinxin's eyes were filled with a trace of bitterness and unwillingness. Obviously, in her heart, Zhao Feng was not the ideal husband. This was because Zhao Feng was younger than her. More importantly, his cultivation and strength were inferior to hers. In this aspect, no one in the younger generation of the Flooding Lake City could meet Lu Qinxin's requirements. Her ideal husband should be a man of indomitable spirit, or an unparalleled comet genius who could create miracles and was unparalleled in the world. However, this azure-haired one-eyed youth in front of her didn't meet her requirements in terms of appearance, age, cultivation, and achievements. But what could she do? Her master had left such a will and even told her to change her name to Lu Qinxin. Her original name wasn't Lu Qinxin. Could it really be fate? Lu Qinxin was unwilling as she looked at the Son of Destiny in front of her. The more she looked at him, the more bitter and complicated her heart became. Zhao Feng had already regained his calm and he calmly responded to everyone's congratulations. Lu Yuan, from today onwards, Zhao Feng will be staying in the city lord's palace. Go back and tell the family. The Flooding Lake City Lord ordered. Yes. Lu Yuan said respectfully. Zhao Feng was originally a talent that the Lu family had recruited, but now that he had become the city lord's son-in-law, they were one family. Congratulations, brother Zhao. You're so lucky to be able to marry Lady Qinxin. Lu Yuan's emotions were complicated. He was filled with envy and unwillingness. What kind of fortune did this brat have? Not only was Lu Qinxin's status noble, her beauty and temperament were top-notch. Even her cultivation and talent surpassed the younger generation of the Flooding Lake City. Such a talented and beautiful woman, a woman who combined nobility, beauty, and wisdom into one, would be a dream for anyone to marry her. Qinxin, take Feng back to the palace first. I'll be there soon. The Flooding Lake City Lord said to his daughter. Lu Qinxin faintly nodded her head and turned into a slender white figure that flew into the city lord's palace like a graceful swan. Zhao Feng could only follow, and with a crackle of lightning, his figure faded as he entered the city lord's palace. Lu Qinxin's speed was extremely fast and she purposely passed through some buildings, trees, and fake mountains. Her figure soon disappeared from sight. She seemed to want to get rid of Zhao Feng. But no matter how big the city lord's palace was, it was still a city within a city. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto Lu Qinxin's position and he quickly followed. Lu Qinxin sat in the living room and thought that the azure-haired brat would definitely have to spend some effort to get here. However, just as she was sipping her tea, a crackle of lightning came from outside. Zhao Feng then slowly walked into the living room and sat opposite Lu Qinxin. Could it be that he's very familiar with the city lord's palace? Does this person have any ill intentions towards me or the Lu family? Lu Qinxin was shocked, but she was also suspicious. Coincidentally, at this moment, Zhao Feng was inspecting the first wife of his life. She had an elegant figure, slender but not lacking in curves. Her eyes were like the autumn water and her eyebrows were like a brush. She had a poetic aura to her. From a certain point of view, Zhao Feng found that he couldn't find a reason to reject her. However, he had seen quite a few beauties in his life and his heart had always been as calm as water. Lu Qinxin saw Zhao Feng stare at her and felt disgusted at first. However, she couldn't feel any other thoughts from his gaze. It was pure admiration. This surprised Lu Qinxin. Over the years, although she wore a veil, most men couldn't hide their desires when they looked at her. The youth in front of her seemed to be covered in a layer of mist. His eyes were sharp and didn't avoid her gaze. Just like that, the two of them sat facing each other in silence. Until the Flooding Lake City Lord walked into the living room. Feng, from today onwards, you will stay in the City Lord's palace. It's best if you don't leave the Flooding Lake City. Someone will take care of everything for you. The Flooding Lake City Lord sat there. Zhao Feng didn't object. He stood up and suggested, this junior isn't prepared for marriage. Furthermore, this concerns Miss Qinxin's happiness. I hope it won't be rushed. He was afraid that the City Lord would force him to marry Lu Qinxin immediately. In that case, all of Zhao Feng's plans and schemes would be for naught. Hearing this, the City Lord smiled, don't worry, it won't be that fast. In reality, the Flooding Lake City Lord didn't want Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin to get married so quickly. Before that, he needed to investigate Zhao Feng's background. It could be said that the Flooding Lake City Lord and Zhao Feng both had their own plans. That night, Zhao Feng was placed in the City Lord's palace and he enjoyed good treatment. He had his own villa that was near a mountain and a river. The housekeepers and servants of the city lord's palace were also extremely respectful toward Zhao Feng. Everyone knew that he was the future young master of the city lord's palace. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and his god spiritual eye looked around the villa. In order to prevent Zhao Feng from sneaking away, the city lord sent a total of 4 experts at half-step true spirit realm and 1 at the true human rank to watch him. This Flooding Lake city lord really thinks highly of me. Zhao Feng's heart dropped. The situation was worse than he had imagined. Luckily, his plan had started. As long as the Flooding Lake city lord didn't force him to get married immediately, there was hope. A few days ago, Zhao Feng didn't move. Apart from cultivating, he would go to the city lord's palace's hidden book pavilion and expand his knowledge. Being the Flooding Lake city lord's son-in-law, apart from a few forbidden areas, Zhao Feng was unobstructed in the city lord's palace. Of course, the 4 experts at half-step true spirit realm and 1 at the true spirit realm would also keep an eye on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng calmly increased his knowledge in the hidden book pavilion and even came into contact with some profound skills. Through the city lord's palace's hidden book pavilion, Zhao Feng gained a deeper understanding of the Canopy Great Country and the entire northern continent. After a few more days, Zhao Feng slowly walked out of the city lord's palace. According to the Flooding Lake city lord's intentions, as long as Zhao Feng didn't leave the Flooding Lake city, no one would stop him. If Zhao Feng was willing, he could even have a large group of guards following him. In these days, the Flooding Lake city lord had investigated Zhao Feng's background and found that he wasn't from the Canopy Great Country, but from a remote area. Knowing this, the Flooding Lake city lord relaxed. He was mainly worried that Zhao Feng came from an enemy force and had bad intentions towards the Lu family. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's background was very clean and he didn't come from the Great Country. Instead, he came from a remote area and didn't have any enmity with the Lu family. On this day, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and started to cultivate. In his mind, the 3-story pavilion that represented the lightning inheritance could be seen clearly. The first floor of the pavilion was bright and clear. I'm about to reach the peak of the first floor of the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng was full of expectation. The lightning inheritance had a total of 3 floors and if he could reach the peak of the 3rd floor, he would have a chance to break through to the origin core realm. From this, one could see how powerful the Floating Crest Palace was. After all, those at the True Lord rank were the rulers of a region and those at the Origin Core realm were only heard of in legends. At this moment, Zhao Feng let out a breath. The escape plan in his heart had been completed and he was at least 80% confident. On the same night, the Flooding Lake City Lord summoned Zhao Feng. Apart from the Flooding Lake City Lord and Lu Qinxin, there were also a few other people in the hall. Even the head of the Lu family was present. Today, the Flooding Lake City Lord summoned Zhao Feng for the engagement. Zhao Feng, the wedding is in half a year, what do you think? The Flooding Lake City Lord asked. Nothing, I'll listen to the City Lord's arrangements. Zhao Feng respectfully accepted the order. The Flooding Lake City Lord nodded his head in satisfaction. Lu Qinxin, on the other hand, couldn't help but be disappointed. She hoped that Zhao Feng would stand up bravely and reject the engagement, even though he would die a horrible death. Looks like he's the same as other men. He can't resist the temptation of wealth, power and beauty. Lu Qinxin sighed. Since Zhao Feng didn't reject the engagement was successfully set for half a year later. Lu Qinxin helplessly became Zhao Feng's fiancée. As for Zhao Feng's escape plan, he would start to plan it. Chapter 262. After the engagement ended, Zhao Feng and Lu Qinxin walked out of the hall side by side. On the way, Zhao Feng silently followed Lu Qinxin like a couple. Soon, they were about to reach the building of the city lord's daughter. Lu Qinxin's body stopped and her eyebrows furrowed. Why are you following me? Her face was cold, and her impression of Zhao Feng worsened even further. They had just gotten engaged and Zhao Feng was already impatient, following her the entire way as if he had bad intentions. Talk. Zhao Feng's expression was calm. He realized that after entering the city lord's palace for so many days, he hadn't had a good talk with his fiancée. Talk. Lu Qinxin misunderstood Zhao Feng's meaning and harumphed in her heart, "Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're engaged. We're only engaged, please respect yourself." Lu Qinxin's face was cold and reserved. Her white veil covered her beautiful face that could bring disaster to a country. Zhao Feng was stunned speechless and quickly added, "Just talk, just." Lu Qinxin's face under the veil couldn't help but turn red. She saw that Zhao Feng's expression was calm and there were no other thoughts in his eyes. There was even a hint of solemnity. It seemed like the other really just wanted to talk. "Please." Lu Qinxin's attitude was cold as she brought Zhao Feng to the pavilion in front of the building. She didn't seem to have any intentions of inviting Zhao Feng in. In Canopy Great Country, the customs weren't conservative. After getting engaged, it was normal for a couple to visit each other. Zhao Feng didn't mind and sat facing Lu Qinxin as a maid brought them tea and snacks. Lu Qinxin's eyes were clear and noble. She didn't even look at him as she waited for Zhao Feng to speak. "You guys leave first." Zhao Feng waved his hand and the two maids left, acting like he was the city lord's son-in-law. Lu Qinxin smiled instead of getting angry. She wanted to see what Zhao Feng wanted to talk to her about. She had already regarded Zhao Feng as a rascal who wanted to climb up the social ladder. He must be thinking of ways to please her at this moment. The sad thing was, did she really have to marry this person? However, Zhao Feng's following performance made all her plans fall through. Previously on the martial arts stage, I saw a jade comb in Qinxin's hand. It just so happens that I also have half a comb in my hand. It's somewhat similar. With that, Zhao Feng took out half a jade comb and placed it on the stone table. Lu Qinxin exclaimed in surprise as she took the jade comb and studied it carefully. She even used a special method to infuse a strand of true force into it. Suddenly, an incomplete Lu character appeared on the front of the jade comb. "That's right. This is the legacy token of the Lu clan. How did you get it?" Lu Qinxin put down the comb. When Zhao Feng heard this, a trace of joy appeared between his brows. "This is the keepsake that master entrusted to me. I hope Qinxin can give me some pointers. Which branch of the Lu clan does this jade comb come from?" Lu Qinxin was slightly dazed. This was the first time she had seen Zhao Feng's face filled with joy and expectation. In comparison, during the engagement, Zhao Feng didn't have any obvious changes in his emotions. Lu Qinxin found that she couldn't see through this youth at all. He didn't seem to care about marriage at all, nor did he care about her at all. In the Lu clan, only the main clan and the 7 branch clans have this kind of token. As for which branch it comes from, that's a secret of the Lu clan. It needs to be verified at the clan law hall. Lu Qinxin's eyes spun as she gave an answer. "So, this jade comb doesn't come from the Flooding Lake Lu clan?" Zhao Feng asked. "That's right." Lu Qinxin took a sip of tea. Zhao Feng couldn't help but be slightly disappointed. It seemed that Lu Qinxin and the person he was looking for weren't from the same branch family. However, from Lu Qinxin, Zhao Feng narrowed down the range. The person who received the letter would only be from the main branch of the Lu family or one of the 7 major branch families. Currently, the Flooding Lake Lu clan was the first to be eliminated. With this, the list in Zhao Feng's mind once again appeared. After elimination, there were 2 people that fit the criteria, Empress Qin and Goddess Qin. Empress Qin was from the Imperials and was the concubine of the Canopy Great Country's emperor. The Zither goddess had joined the Qin Sword Palace and was an elder. Both Empress Qin and the Qin goddess were big figures that were hard to see. Thank you for your advice. If you can confirm which branch this jade comb comes from, Zhao Feng will be eternally grateful. Zhao Feng got up and said his goodbyes. Lu Qinxin sat on the ground and froze. She could sense Zhao Feng's disappointment. Zhao Feng's interest in her had greatly decreased, and it seemed like he had no interest at all. Could it be that he's looking for me, just for this? Lu Qinxin was surprised, but she also felt a sense of defeat. At the start, she thought that Zhao Feng was acting mysterious and was playing hard to get. However, in the following period of time, Zhao Feng lived a life of isolation and didn't contact her. Zhao Feng didn't have the mood to play games. He still needed to plan how to escape the marriage. The first step was to repair the Yin shadow cloak. The second was to increase his cultivation and strength. Zhao Feng had gathered all the materials needed to repair the Yin shadow cloak, but he was still missing a few rare materials. If I can repair the Yin shadow cloak, it will greatly increase my chances of escaping and hiding. Zhao Feng thought in his heart. It was best not to let the Flooding Lake City Lord know about this. However, repairing the Yin shadow cloak usually required a blacksmith. Zhao Feng asked around and found that there were 2 blacksmiths in the Flooding Lake City. One of the blacksmiths had a good relationship with the Lu family. The other blacksmith was said to be more skilled, but he had a fiery temper and didn't give anyone face. His relationship with the Lu family was average and there had even been some conflicts between them. I'll find the fiery-tempered blacksmith. His skills are higher and more importantly, he doesn't have a good relationship with the Lu family. Zhao Feng confirmed his target. This blacksmith was known as Taigon Master and his attainments could be ranked in the top 10 in the entire Canopy Great Country. Even the Flooding Lake Lu family didn't want to offend him. However, the difficulty of finding Taigon Master was several times higher. Zhao Feng obviously had to make some preparations. First, he had to find out what Taigon Master liked and only then would he be able to act. Before he was confident, Zhao Feng wouldn't act easily. In the 2 months after the engagement, Zhao Feng focused on cultivating and comprehending the lightning inheritance, mental energy techniques and some beast tamer techniques. The Flooding Lake City Lord placed great importance on him and seeing Zhao Feng's hard work, he gave him large amounts of spiritual pills and resources. The Canopy Great Country was rich in resources and the resources given by the Flooding Lake City Lord greatly increased Zhao Feng's cultivation. In the 3rd month after the engagement, Zhao Feng's cultivation reached the peak of the 6th sky. The reason why he increased so quickly was because of the resources provided by the Flooding Lake City Lord and also because Zhao Feng had fallen from the 7th sky to the 6th sky. There's still 3 months left and I have a high chance of returning to the 7th sky. The first level of the lightning inheritance has basically reached the great perfection level. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. In his spare time, the Flooding Lake City Lord would even give pointers to Zhao Feng. Of course. As a beast tamer, Zhao Feng would also help tame some of the unruly beasts in the City Lord's palace when he had time. Because of this, Zhao Feng had comprehended the spirit communication technique of beast tamers. This secret technique could be used to communicate with spiritual pets and understand their language. In reality, the spiritual language technique was a branch of mental energy techniques. As long as one learned this technique, they would be able to communicate with most beasts with mental energy consciousness. There were a few beasts in the City Lord Palace whose strength had reached the true spirit realm. Normal beast tamers wouldn't be able to easily tame them. However, Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat appeared together and they were able to understand the symptoms of the spiritual pets and give them the right medicine. The little thieving cat didn't need to learn the spiritual language technique and could communicate with any spiritual beast. The little thieving cat didn't need to learn any of the methods of cheating. Even wild beasts at the true spirit realm were quickly cured by it and Zhao Feng. The Flooding Lake City Lord was very satisfied with Zhao Feng's performance in the City Lord Palace. The most important thing was that Zhao Feng was very obedient and didn't do anything out of line. He didn't even touch his fiancée's hand. Qin, don't be too cold to him. The Flooding Lake City Lord tried to persuade his daughter. Lu Qin was speechless. She was very cold to Zhao Feng, but the latter ignored the existence of his fiancée. Father, am I really going to marry this one-eyed dragon? Lu Qin was slightly unhappy. A light flashed in the Flooding Lake City Lord's eyes and he laughed. Do you really think he's a one-eyed dragon? Do you think father's eyes are that bad? Could it be? Lu Qin felt that there was a secret in Zhao Feng's left eye. This was because Zhao Feng wasn't a normal one-eyed dragon. He was calm and didn't have any violent tendencies. This brat's bloodline isn't simple. If I'm not wrong, it should be a rare eye bloodline. According to the records, after the ancient desolate era ended, the 8 great god eyes were born and ruled the world. Yearning appeared in the Flooding Lake City Lord's eyes. 8 great god eyes. Does father guess that he has one of them? Lu Qin exclaimed. Impossible. The Flooding Lake City Lord shook his head and smiled. That's just a legend. However, the 8 great god eyes are the ancestors of all eye bloodlines. There are many eye bloodlines that are related to the 8 great god eyes. Even a tiny bit of the 8 great god eyes bloodline gives you an advantage that normal bloodlines can't compare to. The 8 great god eyes have never appeared in the history of the continent. No. However, several tens of thousands of years ago, a legendary person with a special eye bloodline opened the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. That was the famous 3-eyed Heavenly Lord in the history of the continent. Legend has it that he became a Void God Realm Sovereign Martial Emperor. The Flooding Lake City Lord faintly smiled. Just as the City Lord and Lu Qin were chatting. Reporting to the City Lord. Zhao Feng has arrived at the outskirts of the Flooding Lake City. Should we stop him? A ghost-like figure appeared beside him, as if it was just a shadow of nothingness. Outskirts? Does he want to leave the Flooding Lake City? The City Lord asked. His target seems to be Taigon Mountain. Taigon Mountain? He wants to find Taigon Grandmaster. The Flooding Lake City Lord revealed a playful smile. Taigon Grandmaster. The old man with the fiery temper. Back then, he didn't even give face to my father and they parted on bad terms. Isn't Zhao Feng afraid of being rejected by him? Lu Qin smiled. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.